Imagine the year is 1735, and the relentless Rajasthani sun is a golden hammer striking the earth of Jaipur, turning the air into a shimmering beyond the heavy iron-studded teak doors of this hidden courtyard. The world is a frantic cacophony of shouting merchants, the groaning of wooden cart wheels against jagged stone, and the suffocating pressure of an afternoon that refuses to yield. But you have found the impossible, a threshold that separates the chaos of the present from a sanctuary of ancient silence. You step inside and the temperature drops instantly, the transition so sharp it feels like diving into a cool, deep pool. You're under the shaded, stone-pillared veranda of an artisan's home, a place where the thick sandstone walls have absorbed the cool of the night and held it against the daylight. The light here does not glare, it filters through the intricate stone lattice of the high screens, falling in soft, dusty ribbons of pale gold that dance across the cool, smooth flagstones. You sink onto a woven mat, leaning your tired back against a cool fluted column. The air here tastes different. It is thick with the scent of dry, warm stone, blended with the earthy, sweet, and slightly metallic perfume of natural dyes. There is an artisan sitting just a few feet away, a man whose life is measured not by the ticking of a clock, but by the rhythm of his own steady, capable hands. He is a master of wood and pigment, a man who understands the quiet language of creation. He picks up a block, a heavy piece of teak carved with such microscopic precision that the pattern seems to hold a life of its own, and he dips it into a shallow tray of indigo. He lifts it, dripping with the deep oceanic blue of the sea, and then, with the grace of a man who has done this 1,000 times before, he presses it onto the long stretched expanse of white cotton. Thud. A soft, muffled, resonant sound vibrates through the floorboards and into your very bones. It is the heartbeat of this room. Third, another impression, perfectly aligned, a geometric lotus flower blooming on the fabric. You watch his hands. They are stained, calloused, and utterly calm. He does not rush. He does not worry about the heat outside. He exists entirely within the space between one impression and the next. The repetition is hypnotic. It is a slow, steady, and grounding cadence that mirrors the slowing of your own pulse. You feel the tension in your shoulders begin to unravel, shedding like dead skin in the cool, dark comfort of the veranda. Every sound from the outside world is muted, turned into a distant, inconsequential hum, while here the world is defined only by the scent of the dye, the coolness of the stone, and the patient, rhythmic dance of the artisan's craft. There is no urgency here, only the soft, repeated impact of wood on fabric, a promise of order in a world of disorder. You are entirely detached from the rush of the city. You are a guest in a timeless refuge, wrapped in the comforting predictability of labor that serves no purpose other than beauty and peace. As the artisan lifts the block again, you realize you haven't had to think for a long time. You have only had to breathe. The shadows are lengthening, stretching across the courtyard like cooling blankets, and you are finally truly at rest. The pattern on the cloth grows longer, a garden of indigo and madder taking shape under the watchful eye of the silent stone-walled enclosure. Everything that weighed upon you before you entered this space is now drifting away, carried off by the gentle rhythmic breeze that stirs the air between the pillars. You are safe. You are here. Let the world continue its frantic spinning outside. Within these walls, the only thing that matters is the next impression, the next breath, and the cooling quiet depth of the afternoon. As the rhythm of the artisan's work continues, the space around you seems to expand, breathing with the slow, deliberate pace of the afternoon. You notice now, more clearly than before, the architecture that shelters you. The veranda is not merely a structural element, it is a testament to a time when cooling the home was an art form in itself. Above you, the ceiling is composed of massive hand-hewn sandstone slabs, supported by pillars that have been polished by centuries of human touch. The stone feels like silk beneath your fingertips, cool, smooth, and utterly grounded. It is a stark contrast to the rough, splintered wooden blocks the artisan uses, a beautiful interplay of textures that defines this environment. The artisan, whose name you do not know and never need to ask, is a man whose focus is absolute. He moves with a fluidity that suggests his body has memorized every movement, every angle, every necessity of the craft. His world is contained within the length of the printing table, a long, narrow landscape of fabric that stretches out like a wide river through the center of the courtyard. Every time he dips the block into the dye, he does so with a precision that borders on reverence. There is no waste, no hesitation, and no doubt. Each dip is measured, each press is deliberate. You find yourself focusing on the wood itself. It is dark, aged teak, carved with such intricate detail that it looks more like jewelry than a tool. You see the faint microscopic dust of the wood grain in the creases of his palm, mingling with the deep stains of the pigments. It occurs to you that he has held these specific blocks for years, perhaps even decades, until they have become an extension of his own physical form. They are smooth where his thumb rests, worn down by thousands of repetitive motions, reflecting the dedication of a lifetime. The sound of the printing is constant, a steady thud that has become the soundtrack of your afternoon. It is not an intrusive sound, rather, it is a rhythmic, hypnotic pulse that helps your mind shed the unnecessary layers of the day. You feel your eyelids grow heavy, not with fatigue, but with a profound, contented relaxation. The heat of the outside world, which felt so threatening just a few minutes ago, now feels like a dream you once had, something distant and entirely removed from the reality of this sanctuary. You watch the indigo dye, a deep, complex blue that seems to hold the mysteries of the night sky within it, transfer from the wooden surface to the cotton. The way the fabric drinks in the color, softening the sharpness of the carved edges, is mesmerizing. It is a process of slow, visible transformation. The long stretch of white cloth is being steadily populated by a forest of lotus flowers, an organic progression of beauty that mirrors the natural growth of a garden. The scent of the indigo has grown more pronounced, an earthy vegetal fragrance that seems to cleanse the air and soothe your lungs. It is the smell of the earth, of plants, of tradition, and of life itself. You realize that you are breathing more deeply than you have in months. Each inhalation draws in the coolness of the shaded courtyard, and each exhalation releases a little more of the tension that you didn't even realize you were carrying. You are completely still, and yet there is a vibrant energy in the room, the energy of creation. You are witnessing the birth of a design, the manifestation of an idea into a tangible form, and there is something deeply grounding about being a silent observer to such pure, unhurried work. The shadows on the floor have moved only an inch, a slow, inevitable crawl that marks the passage of time without the pressure of a ticking clock. The world beyond these walls is irrelevant, a place of noise and heat and haste, but here, in this pocket of history, there is only the present moment. You feel as though you could sit here for an eternity, watching the rhythm of the wood and the dye, and it would never be enough to satisfy the quiet curiosity growing in your chest. You are perfectly content to be exactly where you are, a guest in this cool, dark, and beautiful refuge, cradled by the stone and the song of the block printer's work. The silence between the thuds is just as important as the sound itself, a brief, hollow gap where the air seems to vibrate with the potential for the next mark. It is a meditation in motion, a masterclass in the power of patience, and you are the fortunate witness to this quiet, ancient, and deeply satisfying display of human craft. The afternoon stretches onward, not as a burden, but as a long, cool invitation to remain exactly as you are, suspended in a state of calm that is as refreshing as the deepest shade of the desert sun. Every movement the artisan makes is a lesson in economy and grace, and you find yourself mimicking his stillness, your own body settling into the hard, comforting support of the sandstone floor. There is no hurry, There is never a hurry in this courtyard. The fabric will be printed when it is ready, and the sun will set when it is time, and for now, everything is in its right place, arranged with the quiet perfection of a dream that you have finally miraculously been allowed to enter. The rhythm has become more than just a sound. It is a physical sensation that pulses through the cool floorboards and settles into your core. Each time the wooden block strikes the cotton, the vibration travels through the heavy, ornate table and touches the soles of your feet, creating a continuous low-frequency hum that seems to massage the very nerves of your body. You realize that you have completely lost track of how long you have been sitting here. Has it been an hour, 3 hours? The sun outside might be nearing the horizon, turning the sky into a bruised palette of violet and gold. But here on the veranda, the quality of light remains constant, a soft filtered luminescence that glows against the sandstone. You watch the artisan's hands as he prepares for the next series of impressions. He reaches for a clean cloth to wipe the surface of the block, a gesture that is as careful and deliberate as a surgeon preparing an instrument. There is no haste in his movements, only a total commitment to the integrity of the design. He isn't just printing fabric, he is preserving a lineage of patterns that stretches back through centuries of Indian artistry. You notice the intricate details of the block's design, a sprawling, interconnected vine of jasmine flowers, intertwined with buds that seem to be on the verge of blooming. Every line is sharp, every curve is purposeful, a testament to the master woodcarver who spent weeks creating this single tool. The artisan's calloused thumb traces the edge of the teak, a silent acknowledgement of the tool's history and its capability. When he dips it into the dye, he doesn't press it down hard, but rather lets the porous wood soak up just enough liquid to leave a perfect crisp impression. It is a subtle art, one that requires an intuitive understanding of the saturation and the pressure. If he presses too hard, the lines will blur. Too light and the pattern will be faint. But he never makes a mistake. He is in perfect alignment with his materials, a conductor leading an orchestra of ink and fiber. The scent of the dyes has deepened as the afternoon progressed. The indigo now carries a slightly muskier undertone, perhaps from the heat reacting with the fermentation of the vats, while the madder provides a warm, spicy counterpoint that tickles your senses. It is an earthy, grounding perfume that fills the courtyard, creating a sensory environment that is utterly detached from the modern world you left behind. You feel as though you could close your eyes and remain here for days, simply breathing in this atmosphere, and your mind would grow clearer with every passing breath. The silence of the courtyard is not an empty silence, it is a filled, rich, and vibrating silence. It contains the weight of the stone walls, the history of the families that have lived here, the ghosts of past artisans, and the quiet, persistent presence of the present moment. You feel a strange sense of belonging, as if you were always meant to be here, sheltered in this cool, dark oasis where the world outside burns with its own frantic energy. You shift slightly, your legs feeling heavy and relaxed, and you notice the way the light catches the weave of the cotton as it ripples under the artisan's touch. The fabric is not just a canvas, it is a long, winding story written in color. You can see the progression of the design, the way the pattern repeats and shifts, creating a rhythm that is visual as well as auditory. It is mesmerizing to watch the white space being systematically filled, a slow, patient reclamation of the cloth by the beauty of the motif. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to speak. You don't need to offer praise or comment. Your mere presence as a calm and attentive witness is enough to honor the work being performed. The artisan continues, his rhythm steadying into something even deeper and more profound. Thud. Silence. Thud. Silence. The space between the sounds is where the magic lives, where the anticipation of the next moment hangs in the air, sweet and heavy. You are beginning to understand the secret of this place. It is the secret of endurance. It is the understanding that things of value are built one step at a time, one block at a time, one moment at a time. The rush of the city is an illusion, a frantic dance that leads nowhere. But this is a journey that is its own destination. As the shadows continue their long, slow retreat across the courtyard, you feel yourself drifting further into a state of profound meditative rest. Your thoughts are no longer sharp or jagged. They have been rounded off by the environment, polished into smooth, gentle stones that sink to the bottom of a quiet pond. You are entirely at ease, wrapped in the cool embrace of the stone, the scent of the dyes, and the steady, heartbeat-like thud of the printing block. It is a sanctuary of the mind, a place where you have finally found the stillness that has eluded you for so long, and you are perfectly content to remain here, listening, breathing, and existing within the slow unfolding beauty of the afternoon. The afternoon sun, though still blazing beyond these heavy ancient walls, has lost its power over you. Within the sanctum of this sandstone veranda, the air remains cool, thick with the scent of sun-warmed stone and the sharp grounding perfume of crushed meadow roots. You watch the artisan's hands, those remarkable steady instruments of creation, as they move with a grace that seems to defy the passage of time. He has moved to a new section of the cotton, a long stretch that looks like a clean, crisp river awaiting the imprint of his vision. The repetition continues, but it no longer feels like a cycle of labor. It has transitioned into a meditation of existence. Each third of the block is a punctuation mark in a story that is being told without words. You find yourself focusing on the minute details, the way the artisan's fingers grip the edges of the wooden block, the slight pressure of his palm, the precise angle at which he lifts the block to reveal the completed impression. It is a lesson in economy. Nothing is wasted. No movement is superfluous. He is a master of his craft, and in his company you have become a master of stillness. Your own body feels heavy, comfortably anchored to the cool flagstones. The constant rhythmic thud has lulled your mind into a state of profound suspension. You are no longer thinking about the obligations of tomorrow or the echoes of yesterday. The world outside, with its noise and heat and relentless demand for progress, has ceased to exist for you. Here in 1735, time is not a resource to be managed, but a canvas to be filled with care and precision. You notice a small shift in the light. The sun has moved behind the upper parapets of the courtyard, casting a long, deep shadow that stretches toward your feet like a cooling blanket. The colors of the dyes seem to shift as well, deepening in the dimming light. The indigo, once a bright, vivid blue, now seems to take on the quality of twilight, a rich, dark hue that looks like velvet pressed into the cotton. The madder, too, has softened, moving from a bold terracotta to a warm, dusky rust. It is as if the very materials themselves are participating in the transition of the day, moving toward rest with the same patient grace as the artisan. You feel a deep, quiet gratitude for this space. It is a refuge not just for the body, but for the spirit. It offers you a chance to see that the world can be quiet, that work can be a source of peace, and that beauty is often found in the most repetitive, mundane tasks. You look at the artisan's face. He is utterly serene. There is a small, subtle smile playing at the corners of his mouth, as if he is listening to a music that only he can hear. He is entirely present, not in the sense of being aware of his surroundings, but in the sense of being perfectly aligned with his purpose. He is at home in his work, and in that realization, you find a reflection of what you seek. You too can be at home in your own existence. You can find the same stillness within your own life if you learn to honor the rhythm of your own days as he honors the rhythm of the block. The atmosphere in the courtyard is so thick with peace that you feel as though you could reach out and touch it. It is a tangible weight, a soft, invisible shroud that keeps the chaos of the world at bay. You watch the artisan reach for a fresh block, this one carved with a series of interlocking geometric shapes, and you find yourself anticipating the next thud with a sense of calm excitement. It is a simple primal pleasure, this cycle of creation, and you are entirely content to witness it for as long as the light holds. The air is still save for the occasional distant sound of a bird calling out, a lonely, clear note that only emphasizes the silence of this place. You are suspended in the perfect middle of an afternoon that will never end, caught in a loop of beauty, scent, and sound that feels more real than anything you have experienced in a long, long time. There is a profound sense of completeness here, a feeling that everything is exactly as it should be and that you are exactly where you need to be. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the sound of the block hitting the fabric become the only thing that exists in your universe. And in that darkness, you feel the final fragments of your stress dissolve, leaving behind only the cool, quiet, and beautiful essence of the present moment. The shadows in the courtyard have deepened into a soothing indigo tinted violet, signaling that the late afternoon is finally beginning its slow descent into the velvet embrace of dusk. You remain seated against the fluted stone pillar, your body feeling perfectly aligned with the architecture of the veranda, as if you have been here for years rather than just a few hours. The artisan, whose dedication has been the steady heartbeat of your afternoon, shows no sign of fatigue. His movements retain that same deliberate precision, a testament to a life practice in the art of endurance. He picks up his wooden block once more, dips it into the deep cooling vat of dye, and presses it down with a firm, rhythmic authority. Thud, the sound resonates through the courtyard, a soft final exclamation point on the pattern he is weaving across the expanse of the cotton. You watch the design emerge, a complex flowing geometry that seems to breathe with the rhythm of his hands. It is a work of profound patience, a visual manifestation of a calm that is rarely found in the world outside these walls. You think about the world you left behind, the rush of modern life, the digital noise, the constant, clawing demand for attention, and you realize how far away it all feels. Here, there is only the texture of the cotton, the coolness of the stone, and the scent of the natural pigments, a trio of sensations that have completely rewired your sense of time. You are no longer measuring your life by minutes or hours, but by the slow, organic progress of the artisan's labor. The air has cooled significantly now, bringing with it a crispness that clears the mind and sharpens the senses. You can smell the subtle shift in the environment, the dampness of the evening coming on, the faint sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine beginning to stir in the distant garden, and the lingering earthy aroma of the indigo that has permeated the very stone of this veranda. It is a sensory symphony that grounds you, making you feel entirely undeniably alive. You find yourself wondering about the history of this place, about the families who have lived and worked within these sandstone walls, and the generations of artisans who have stood in this exact spot, perfecting the same patterns, breathing the same air, and finding the same peace in the repetition of their craft. It is a continuum of human effort, a lineage of beauty that transcends the individual. And you are privileged to be a brief, silent witness to this chapter of its unfolding. You feel a sense of profound gratitude, not just for the sanctuary, but for the quiet, understated grace of the person sitting across from you. He is not a spectacle, he is a man doing the work he was meant to do, and in doing so, he is creating a space of healing for himself and for anyone lucky enough to find their way into his courtyard. You observe the way he pauses, not to rest, but to look at the work he has done, his eyes scanning the intricate lines with a critical yet satisfied gaze. He is a perfectionist of the soul, someone who understands that the quality of the work is inextricably linked to the quality of the piece he maintains while performing it. You realize that you have learned more from watching him for a few hours than you could have learned from a lifetime of reading about mindfulness. Here, there is no theory, no instruction, no complex philosophy. There is only the action and the result, the effort and the stillness. You feel the last vestiges of your restlessness fading away, replaced by a deep, resonant calm that seems to vibrate in your very bones. The world may be waiting for you beyond these doors, but for now, you are safe, you are still, and you are entirely content. This is the essence of why we do what we do. Sleepy History with Arthur is a sleep history storytelling platform created for entertainment, inspiration, education, and the promotion of positive emotional values. You are held in this space by the quiet ancient wisdom of the past, and as the day moves toward its conclusion, you feel ready to let go of everything else. The evening light is fading into a soft, comforting gray, and the artisan's movements are slowing down, his work for the day nearing its completion. The final thirds of the block are sparse, deliberate, and deeply resonant, each one echoing with a sense of finality and peace. You take a final deep breath of the cool, dye-scented air, feeling it fill your lungs with the calm of a century that knew nothing of the haste that defines your own. You are at rest, tucked away in the heart of Jaipur, under the shadow of a stone veranda that has seen 1,000 afternoons just like this one, and you are finally truly at peace. The twilight has fully descended, wrapping the courtyard in a cloak of soft, breathable shadow. The sun has long since vanished behind the distant horizon, leaving the sky a deep bruised indigo that mirrors the color of the dye resting in the artisan's earthenware vats. You are still resting against the pillar, and the stone has grown cold beneath your palms, a refreshing grounding chill that seems to draw the lingering heat of the day right out of your body. The artisan has set aside his block, his hands resting on his knees, and for the first time he looks up, not at you, but toward the open expanse of the sky above the courtyard. His face, caught in the dim ambient light, reveals a quiet, weathered serenity that speaks of a life lived in harmony with the cycles of the earth. He is not tired, he is simply complete. The day's labor is done, and the fabric, now covered in a sprawling, intricate garden of lotus flowers, lies stretched out across the table like a testament to the hours of focus. The silence is profound now. The rhythmic thud has ceased, but its ghost remains, a reverberation in the air that keeps you anchored to this moment of absolute stillness. You find that you can hear things you could not hear before. The faint rustling sound of a night bird stirring in the branches of a nearby tree, the soft distant murmur of the city settling in for the night, and the gentle, almost imperceptible sigh of the fabric as it cools and settles on the printing table. Everything is in its place. The world feels orderly, balanced, and deeply intentional. You realize that your own internal landscape has undergone a similar transformation. The anxieties that felt so sharp and pressing hours ago have been filed down, smoothed over by the repetitive, calming influence of the artisan's work. You feel a sense of clarity, a sharp, piercing awareness of your own existence that is untainted by the usual clutter of your daily thought. It is as if the simple act of witnessing this craft has stripped away the excess, leaving only the essential quiet core of who you are. You feel a deep, abiding connection to this place, despite knowing you are a transient visitor, a ghost from a different time who has found a temporary home in the shadow of this veranda. You watch the artisan reach out to touch the fabric, his fingers trailing lightly over the patterns he has just created. He is feeling the texture, checking the depth of the color, and appreciating the work he has done. There is no ego in his gesture, only the pride of a craftsman who knows he has honored his materials and his ancestors with his diligence. He moves with a quiet, efficient economy, placing the blocks back into their wooden chest, covering the dye vats with heavy dark cloths to keep them protected from the cool night air. Each movement is a closing note in a long, beautiful song. You watch him, fascinated by the way he treats his tools, as if they were all dear friends. He wipes the table, clears the workspace, and leaves everything in a state of perfect, ready to begin again potential. It is a lesson in ending as well as beginning, the importance of leaving behind a space that is prepared for the future. You feel yourself slipping into a state of drowsy, peaceful contemplation. The air is cool. The scent of the dyes has faded into a faint, comforting trace, and the darkness of the courtyard is soft and inviting. There is no pressure to move, no demand to speak, and no requirement to do anything other than exist in this quiet, protected, and ancient space. You are wrapped in the history of this courtyard, held by the stone and the memory of the work that was done here, and you feel entirely safe. The night is deepening, the stars beginning to prick through the indigo sky, and you find that your eyes are becoming harder and harder to keep open. The peace you have found here is heavy, rich, and profoundly satisfying. It is the kind of peace that stays with you, a quiet anchor that you can carry back out into the world, even when the noise and the haste of your life return to meet you. You are for these final moments at one with the evening, a silent part of the tapestry of this ancient house, drifting into a rest that is as deep and dark and refreshing as the indigo itself. The artisan offers you a small, respectful nod, a silent acknowledgement of your presence and your patience, before he turns and walks toward the back of the house, his footsteps quiet on the stone. You are left alone in the dark, the master of your own silence, resting in the cool, profound stillness of a Jaipur evening. And you know, with absolute certainty, that you are exactly where you were always meant to be. The darkness of the courtyard is no longer a void, but a warm velvet presence that seems to cradle you in the quietude of the night. With the artisan gone, and the tools tucked away in their wooden boxes, the space has transformed from a workshop into a sanctuary of pure stillness. You remain where you are, your back still resting against the cool fluted pillar, your eyes slowly adjusting to the starlight that spills into the open center of the courtyard. The air is perfectly still, devoid of the afternoon's heat, now replaced by a crisp desert cool that feels like a gentle hand against your brow. You reflect on the hours you have just spent here, the repetitive thud of the printing block, the rich earthy scent of the dyes, and the steady, unhurried movements of a man who understood the language of time. It is a profound realization that you have not just watched a process, but have been part of an ancient ritual that exists outside the constraints of the world you inhabit. You feel as though you have been initiated into a secret, one that promises that no matter how loud or fast life becomes, there is always this, the possibility of stopping, the opportunity to observe the slow, deliberate unfolding of something beautiful, and the chance to find the heartbeat within the silence. You realize that your own life has been so cluttered with the urgency of outcomes that you had forgotten to value the process itself. You were always looking toward the horizon, never noticing the beauty beneath your own feet. But here in this courtyard, you have learned the value of the pause. You have learned that the space between things is not empty, but full of potential, full of the quiet, steady hum of existence. Sleepy History with Arthur combines the power of AI to reimagine fictional historical tales, bringing peace, relaxation, and positive emotional values to our listeners. If you have felt the weight of the day lift from your shoulders during this time, consider sharing this journey with someone else who might need a moment of stillness. The world is often too loud, too bright, and too fast, but we are here to provide an alternative, a small, dark, and cool room where you can hide away for a while and rediscover the rhythm of your own heart. You look up at the sky, where the stars are bright and sharp, unblinking witnesses to the centuries that have passed over this city. They have seen thousands of afternoons like the one you just experienced, and they will see thousands more. There is a comfort in that scale, a reminder that your worries, your tasks, and your anxieties are temporary, mere dust motes in the grand, unfolding tapestry of time. You feel your muscles finally give up their last bits of tension. You have been holding on to the idea of doing for so long that being feels almost revolutionary. You let your head rest against the cool stone, your breath coming in slow, even cycles. There is no need for light, for noise, or for distraction. You are perfectly, beautifully alone, and yet you feel connected to the very core of this place. You hear the distant barking of a dog, a sound that is muffled by the thick sandstone walls, and it seems to belong to another world, a place that has nothing to do with this cool, quiet oasis. You are in the heart of 1735, yet you are completely timeless. The memory of the indigo stained hands, the way the fabric rippled under the weight of the block, and the faint earthy fragrance of the dye are all etched into your consciousness now. A collection of peaceful images that you can return to whenever the world feels overwhelming. You close your eyes, and the darkness behind your lids feels safe and inviting. You are not waiting for anything. You are simply existing, drifting on the slow, dark current of the evening, feeling the cool stone beneath you and the vast silent sky above you. You are held by the history of this place, by the dedication of the artisan, and by the profound, unshakable truth that sometimes the most important thing you can do is absolutely nothing at all. You are drifting, sinking into a sleep that feels like the softest, deepest velvet, wrapped in the quiet, ancient peace of Jaipur. And you know, as you lose yourself in the final gentle drift of the night, that you are perfectly, entirely, and wonderfully at rest. The night has fully settled, and the courtyard has become a temple of shadows. You are no longer merely an observer. You are a participant in the profound stillness that defines this ancient space. As you remain against the cool, fluted pillar, the silence around you seems to take on a physical weight, a soft, protective layer that insulates you from the world. There is a sense of completion in the air, a feeling that the labor of the day has left a permanent, positive mark on the stone and the very atmosphere of this house. You think about the fabric, the long lengths of cotton that now hold the legacy of 100 lotus flowers. They are currently rolled up and resting on a printing table, waiting for the morning light to be revealed in its full vibrant glory. In your mind, you can still see the indigo stained hands of the artisan, the way he hovered over the fabric with such focused intent, and the way he brought the block down with that precise, satisfying thud. It is a memory that you have tucked away, a mental sanctuary you can inhabit whenever the noise of the modern world becomes too deafening. You feel a shift in your own consciousness. The boundaries between yourself and the environment have begun to blur. You are at peace with the dark, at peace with the cool stone, and at peace with the fact that there is nothing left to be done today. You realize that this is what true rest feels like, a complete surrender of the need to control, to plan, or to achieve. It is the wisdom of the artisan reflected in your own heart. He walked not because he was running from something, but because he was moving toward a vision, and in that movement he found his own grace. You are finding yours now in the stillness. The night air, cool and dry, carries the faint, lingering traces of the day's work. The minerals, the wood, the cotton, and the dyes, a scent that has become the signature of your tranquility. It is a simple, honest smell, devoid of the artificiality that marks so much of your usual existence. You breathe it in, and with every cycle of your lungs, you feel more grounded, more connected to the earth, and more detached from the ephemeral worries that once kept you awake. The stars above the courtyard have become your only companions, and they seem to watch over this place with a cold, distant, and ancient approval. They have seen empires rise and fall, cities built and abandoned, and they have seen, most importantly, the quiet, persistent work of individuals who, like the printer, have kept the flame of tradition alive through the simple act of showing up. You feel small, but in a way that is comforting, rather than isolating. You are a part of this long, unbroken chain, a brief flicker of light in the history of this house, and for this moment you are at peace with your place in the universe. Your body feels heavy, as if the stone floor is finally reclaiming you, pulling you down into a state of deep, restorative slumber. You don't fight it, You welcome it as a long awaited friend. There is no need to count the seconds or to worry about the coming dawn. The dawn will come in its own time, and it will find you rested, clear headed, and ready for whatever it brings. But for now, there is only the darkness, the scent of the evening, and the slow rhythmic beating of your own heart, which has finally synchronized with the peace of the courtyard. You close your eyes, and the image of the lotus flowers, bright, indigo, and perfectly formed, fades into a soft monochromatic haze of comfort. You are drifting, not into nothingness, but into a space of profound nurturing silence. You are safe. You are at home in the dark. The day is behind you, a long, beautiful, and productive journey that has brought you to this final perfect place of rest. Let the silence hold you. Let the coolness surround you. You are exactly where you need to be, sinking deeper into the quiet, beneath the pillars, under the sky, in the heart of a Jaipur night that feels as eternal as it is still. The silence of the midnight hour has transformed the courtyard into a realm of pure, ethereal memory. You are no longer just a visitor in the physical space of a stone-pillared veranda. You have become a part of the house's very history, a silent observer woven into the architecture of the night. The coolness of the sandstone beneath your back is deep and absolute, drawing out any residual tension from your muscles and anchoring your spirit to the very foundation of the building. You find that your mind, once so preoccupied with the noise of the external world, has become as clear and still as the surface of a mountain lake. Every thought that drifts into your awareness is gentle, passing through like a cloud across a full moon, leaving no trace behind. You have reached the point where the distinction between wakefulness and dreaming has begun to blur, and you find this state to be the most comfortable you have ever known. The work of the artisan, which you observed for so long, has become a rhythmic, internal cadence. Even without the sound of the wooden block, you can feel the pulse of it in your own chest, that steady, patient, and unwavering beat that characterizes a life lived with purpose. You realize that the peace you have cultivated here is not a fragile thing to be guarded, but a durable, resilient strength that you can take with you back into the daylight. It is a lesson in the architecture of the soul to build walls that are thick enough to keep out the heat, but open enough to let in the cool evening air of grace. If you have found solace in this long, quiet journey through the shaded veranda of Jaipur, please remember to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, as your support helps us continue to create these sanctuaries for the mind, bringing historical imagination and emotional peace to listeners around the world. The stars have reached their zenith now, a tapestry of ancient light that stretches from the edge of the courtyard roof to the infinite expanse of the horizon. They feel closer here, brighter, and more insistent, as if they are watching over the history of this place with a quiet cosmic care. You feel an overwhelming sense of belonging. You are not a stranger in a foreign land. You are a fellow traveler in the vast, unfolding experience of being human. The artisan's work, the stone's endurance, the star's persistence, it is all one long continuous story, and you are currently occupying a beautiful, quiet chapter. The air is infused with a faint, lingering scent of the indigo, which now seems to represent not just the dye, but the very essence of the night itself. It is a cool, dark, and comforting aroma that invites you to breathe deeply and release everything that you have been holding on to for so long. There is no urgency in this space. There is no demand to be anything other than exactly who you are in this moment. The transition from the business of the day to the surrender of the night is a natural, effortless flow, and you are gliding along it with a sense of perfect, blissful ease. As you lay there, the shadows of the pillars stretch out like long, protective arms, shielding you from the wider world and keeping you safe in the heart of this sanctuary. You find that your breathing has slowed to a soft, almost imperceptible rhythm, and the world has narrowed down to the sensation of the cool air on your skin and the steady, quiet drum of existence in your veins. You are ready now to let go entirely. to slip into the deepest, most restorative sleep you have known in years, wrapped in the cool embrace of a Jaipur midnight, where the past and the present meet in the absolute perfect stillness of the dark. In the deepest watch of the night, the world beyond these walls seems to have fallen away entirely. There is no Jaipur, no city, no history, and no future. There is only this specific infinitesimal point of existence where you reside. The courtyard is a cradle, its sandstone walls acting as a barrier against the encroaching tides of time. You find that you have arrived at a state of total unadulterated presence. Every sensation is heightened, yet you are completely undisturbed by them. The way the cool air currents shift across the flagstones, the infinitesimal rustle of a moth's wing in the upper eaves, the distant muffled sound of the city's heart beating slow and steady, these are not distractions, but parts of a singular, harmonious song. You are the conductor of your own inner peace, and you are choosing in this moment to let the tempo slow to a crawl. The memory of the day's labor, the rhythmic thud of the printing block is now a ghost, a phantom sound that you can summon at will to calm the waters of your mind. It is a metronome of tranquility, and it sinks your heart to the ancient rhythm of the earth. You feel the weight of your body pressing into the stone, and you realize that you are not merely lying on the floor, you are supported by it. You are held, you are safe. The anxiety that often dictates the pace of your life is nowhere to be found here. You have traded the frantic pursuit of more for the quiet, deep satisfaction of enough. The cotton fabric left on the printing table is a promise for tomorrow, a beautiful unfinished work that proves that life is a continuous unfolding process. You don't need to finish it tonight. You don't need to worry about the final result. All you need is the certainty that the work will continue and that it is enough to have participated in the effort. You feel a profound sense of self-compassion, a warm, glowing light in the center of your chest that recognizes the value of your own existence. Regardless of what you produce or what you achieve, you are worthy of this rest. You are worthy of this peace. As you drift further into the silence, the boundaries of your consciousness become soft and permeable. You feel like a drop of water returning to the ocean or a star fading into the morning light. There is no ego left to defend, no self-image to maintain, only the vast open space of being. The air continues to cool, and with it, your mind sheds the last remnants of the day's complications. The indigo smell has become a soft floral perfume that anchors your spirit to the earth, even as your mind begins to float. You are at the threshold of a dream, a place where the logic of the world is replaced by the wisdom of the heart. You know that when you finally surrender to sleep, it will be a deep, bottomless well of recovery, and you look forward to it with a sense of quiet anticipation. You are not losing your way, you are finding it. You are returning to the source, the simple, unadorned truth of who you are when all the external masks have been set aside. The night is a gift, a long, cool, and beautifully dark expanse designed specifically for your restoration. As you settle in, the pillars of the veranda seem to lean in, offering a final protective embrace, and you realize that you are surrounded by the legacy of peace that has been built into this home, stone by stone, generation by generation. It is a legacy that you now carry within you, a quiet internal monument to the beauty of the slow, the simple, and the still. You close your eyes and the world vanishes, leaving only the soft, endless horizon of your own restful spirit, and you allow yourself to fall into the abyss of the night, confident that you will rise again in the morning, refreshed and renewed by the ancient healing magic of the Jaipur darkness. The final, lingering moments of the night are a passage into a world where only the essence of peace remains. You are at the absolute core of the sanctuary now, the center of the mandala that this courtyard has become. The darkness is not black, it is a rich, shimmering purple, the color of indigo pigment caught in the moonlight. You feel as though you are floating in a gentle, warm current of air, lifted by the weightlessness of your own deep, quiet joy. The stone beneath you has ceased to feel like a hard surface. It is now a part of your own being, a solid, grounding presence that keeps you anchored in reality, even as your mind begins to drift toward the shores of sleep. You think about the lotus flower pattern on the fabric, how it represents growth and enlightenment, rising from the mud to reach for the light. Your own journey today has been similar. You have risen from the mud of your daily stress, moved through the heat of the afternoon, and now, here in the darkness, you are blooming in the cool, quiet light of your own clarity. It is a beautiful, symmetric thought, and it brings a smile to your face. You are at peace with the cycle of the day, with the necessity of rest, and with the beauty of the transition. There is nothing left to say, nothing left to do, and nothing left to worry about. You are complete. The silence is no longer an absence of sound, it is a presence, a living, breathing entity that holds you in its arms. You can feel the heartbeat of the courtyard in the stone, a slow, deep vibration that resonates with your own. You are perfectly, beautifully integrated into this environment. The air carries the last faint whispers of the night, a cooling breeze that stirs the curtains, the soft, distant rustle of the stars, and the internal sigh of the earth as it turns on its axis. Everything is in motion, yet everything is at rest. You are a passenger on this great spinning globe, and for the first time, you are enjoying the journey. You feel the last of your energy settling into your center, a soft golden warmth that begins to spread from your chest to your limbs, a soothing balm that signals the final descent into rest. The memories of the artisan, the block, the dye, and the veranda have become the foundation of your dream state, a landscape you can visit whenever you need to remember that peace is not an unreachable goal, but a fundamental human right. You are ready to let go of the last threads of awareness, to dissolve into the sea of the night, and to trust that you will be carried safely through the darkness until the first light of dawn. The world will be there when you wake, but it will look different because you have changed. You are softer, slower, and more deeply connected to the ground beneath your feet. You are ready to dream, and your dreams will be painted in the colors of the indigo and the madder, in the shapes of the lotus and the vine, and in the sound of the steady heartbeat thud of the wooden block. You take one last long breath, feeling the cool, clean air wash over your soul, and then you release it. A long, slow sigh that marks the end of your vigil and the beginning of your journey into the infinite restorative depths of sleep. You are held, you are whole, you are at rest. The night is yours, and in the quiet of this ancient Jaipur courtyard, you are finally, truly, and completely at home, within your own peace. The night has matured into a velvety, profound stillness that seems to suspend the very fabric of time. You are floating within the courtyard's embrace, where the cool stone and the quiet, perfumed air have become your entire universe. There is a sense of ancient permanence here, a feeling that this veranda has stood for centuries as a silent sentinel for the weary, a place where the frenetic energy of the world is stripped away and replaced by the steady, unhurried pulse of tradition. Your thoughts are no longer individual ripples in a turbulent sea. They have become a deep, still pond, reflecting only the vast star-filled sky above. You find that you can recall the artisan's movements with such vivid clarity that it feels as if he were still working beside you. You see the calloused pads of his fingers, the way he braced his shoulder to apply the perfect measured pressure, and the absolute focus in his eyes that turned a repetitive task into an act of profound devotion. It occurs to you that his life is a masterpiece of consistency, a testament to the idea that one does not need to change the world in a single stroke, but rather one needs only to perform the current task with love, precision, and respect for the materials at hand. You are carrying this lesson within you now, a seed of tranquility that you will plant in the soil of your own daily life. The air is cool and crisp, a refreshing balm that seems to cleanse your very thoughts of any remaining static or distraction. You feel the physical weight of your body anchoring you to the earth, a sensation of gravity that is grounding rather than heavy. It is as if the veranda is teaching you how to sit, how to breathe, and how to exist without the need for constant motion or validation. You are not waiting for the morning, for a change in circumstances, or for the resolution of any problem. You are simply present, inhabiting the space of the now with a gratitude that fills you from your toes to the crown of your head. The shadows cast by the pillars are long and soft, reaching out toward the center of the courtyard like dark protective fingers, and you find that you are completely content to be tucked away among them. There is no fear of the dark, only a profound sense of comfort, for the darkness is not an absence of light, but an invitation to look inward, to explore the quiet corners of your own spirit that are usually obscured by the glare of the day. You are discovering parts of yourself that have been waiting in the stillness, parts that are calm, wise, and entirely at peace with the unfolding of the universe. This is the true treasure of the courtyard, not the intricate fabric or the beautifully carved blocks, but the mirror it holds up to your own potential for stillness. You realize that you have the capacity to carry this veranda within you, a portable sanctuary that you can open whenever the world becomes too loud or the demands of the day become too pressing. You are becoming a master of your own internal architecture, learning how to build walls of patience and windows of grace. The night continues its slow, majestic orbit, and you are content to be a silent observer of its progress, feeling the rotation of the earth, the slow shifting of the constellations, and the rhythmic, deep-seated breathing of the house itself. You are drifting deeper and deeper into a state of blissful oblivion, a place where the ego has no power and only the sensation of existence remains, and you are entirely ready to let the last boundaries fade. Go out slipping into the velvet depths of a sleep that will refresh your soul for all the days to come. As the stars slowly migrate across the narrow rectangular slice of sky above the courtyard, you feel the final gentle loosening of the ties that bound you to the day's concerns. It is a slow, rhythmic process, much like the winding down of a pendulum that has finally found its center. Your heartbeat has synchronized with the silent rhythm of the house, a steady, quiet thrum that makes you feel as though you are part of the stone, a living, breathing component of this ancient structure. There is a profound beauty in this surrender. You are letting go of the need to be productive, the need to be noticed, and the need to be anything other than what you are right now. In this space of total acceptance, you find that the silence is articulate. It speaks of the generations who have stood on these flagstones, of the artisans who have perfected their crafts in the cool shaded light, and of the families who have found refuge in these walls during the fiercest heat of history. You are merely the latest in a long line of souls who have sought and found peace in this courtyard, and you feel a quiet, warm connection to them all. They are the invisible companions of your solitude, a chorus of calm that surrounds you and reassures you that you are never truly alone. You notice the way the light catches the dew that has begun to form on the stone, a microscopic, crystalline glitter that transforms the floor into a field of diamonds. It is a small, unnoticed miracle, something that happens every night, but is rarely seen by those who are rushing through their lives. You are the witness to this hidden beauty, and the simple act of noticing it makes you feel deeply alive. This is what it means to be mindful, to pay attention, to value the small, to respect the quiet, and to find the extraordinary in the mundane. You think of the fabric again, and now in your mind you can see the lotus flowers blooming in the dark, their indigo lines etched into the memory of the cloth like a silent promise of beauty. The work is done, the day is ended, and the results are quietly waiting for the sun to return. You too are waiting, waiting for the cycle of rest to complete you, knowing that when you rise, you will be different. You will be more patient, more deliberate, and more at peace. The air is now so cool and still that it feels almost solid, a gentle pressure against your skin that suggests the night is at its most protective. You feel a deep, abiding gratitude for the artisans, for the designers, for the stonemasons, and for the life that brought you to this very spot at this very time. You are exactly where you were meant to be, and there is no other place in the world that could offer you such profound restorative quiet. You feel a soft golden light beginning to glow behind your eyelids, a herald of the deep dreamless sleep that is approaching, and you welcome it with an open heart. You are ready to close the final door of the day, to step into the cool, dark halls of your own rest, and to drift until the dawn finds you renewed. The courtyard is holding you in its palm, a precious, quiet thing. And as you exhale, you feel the final remnants of your conscious effort dissolve, leaving you floating in the absolute, perfect calm of the Jaipur night. The transition into the deepest reaches of the night is now complete, and you find yourself residing in a space that feels entirely outside the limits of the physical world. The courtyard has become a void of peace, a place where the concepts of time, distance, and struggle have no meaning. You are resting in a sea of stillness, buoyed by the coolness of the stone and the gentle rhythmic hum of the earth. It is a state of grace that you have reached through the long, slow, and meditative journey of the day, a reward for your patience and your willingness to sit with the silence. You feel the boundaries of your body beginning to soften, as if you are becoming one with the air and the shadows, a formless presence that is perfectly at ease in the dark. Your mind, which once raced with the urgency of a thousand demands, is now empty, a clear white space waiting for the soft colors of dreams to fill it. You are reminded of the indigo dye, of how it began as a liquid and settled into the fabric to create something permanent and beautiful. Your own mind is like that fabric now, deeply saturated with the quiet, dark peace of the courtyard, a transformation that is indelible and profound. You realize that you have moved beyond the need for words, for thoughts, and even for memories. You are experiencing the raw, unadulterated essence of being. There is nothing to prove, nothing to fix, and nothing to explain. You are just a part of the whole, a note in a larger, quieter melody that has been playing since the beginning of time. This feeling of unity is the most profound comfort you have ever known, a sense of belonging that transcends the individual ego and connects you to the very pulse of existence. You feel a gentle cooling breeze pass through the courtyard, a soft, invisible traveler that carries with it the secrets of the desert and the promise of the coming dawn, and you find that you are able to accept its passage without feeling the need to hold on. Everything flows, everything changes, and everything is exactly as it should be. The artisan's work was a reflection of this reality, a series of impressions, a cycle of beginnings and endings, all held together by the steady, loving hand of the Creator. And you are a creator too, in your own way, for you have created this peace within yourself, and you have chosen to dwell in it tonight. The shadows are beginning to lighten just a fraction, a subtle change that signifies the deepest part of the night is passing, but you do not need to hurry to greet the day. You have all the time you need, you have all the peace you have built. You are wrapped in the history of the veranda, cradled by the stone pillars, and bathed in the quiet indigo light of your own spirit. As you finally let go of the last faint thread of conscious thought, you feel a sense of boundless, effortless love for the world, for this place, and for the journey that brought you here. You are drifting into a sleep that is as deep and dark and refreshing as a mountain spring. And you know with the quiet, unshakable face of the stillness that you will wake up in a world that is brighter, clearer, and more beautiful because of the peace you have cultivated in the quiet of this courtyard. The night remains a deep velvet shroud, a perfect, unchanging witness to your journey through stillness. You are drifting in a state of suspended contentment, where the very act of existing feels like a rhythmic, gentle rocking on an endless sea. The stone of the veranda has become the bedrock of your soul, cool and unwavering, providing a foundation for your quietude that nothing in the outside world can disturb. You find that your senses have turned inward, creating a private landscape of gentle textures and soft muted colors. The scent of the indigo, now a faint ghostly reminder of the artisan's labor, acts as a sensory anchor, pulling you back to the earth whenever your spirit feels tempted to wander too far into the ephemeral. It is a beautiful grounding presence, a subtle reminder of the tangible work that defines your day. You reflect on the way the light danced across the flagstones, the way the air shifted as the sun set, and the way the shadows grew long and protective. All these fragments of memory are now smoothed into a singular, cohesive experience of peace. There is no urgency to process these memories or to weave them into a narrative. They simply exist as part of the architecture of your mind. You are experiencing the true nature of rest, which is not an emptiness, but a fullness of being, a state where the soul is allowed to simply breathe without the interference of the ego. The quiet is absolute. It is a thick, resonant silence that holds you in its grasp, and you are entirely comfortable being held. There is a profound sense of safety in this isolation, a feeling that the courtyard is a fortress against the chaos of time. Within these walls, you are immortalized in a moment of perfect, unhurried grace. You think of the millions of people who are currently rushing through their lives, caught in the gears of the world's frantic machinery, and you feel a surge of compassion for them, tempered by the quiet knowledge that this peace is always available if they only knew where to look. You have found the secret door, the hidden threshold, and now that you have entered, you know the way back. It is a path of patience, a path of presence, and a path of deep, intentional stillness. You feel the rhythm of the world outside, but it feels like a distant thunder, a storm that cannot reach you here in the shadow of the pillars. You are in the eye of the calm, the center of the turning wheel, and you are utterly at rest. The night is passing, moving in its silent, majestic orbit toward the dawn. But for now, the darkness is your home. You welcome it, you cherish it, and you let it wrap you in its soft, cooling embrace, feeling yourself sink ever deeper into the heart of the Jaipur night, a traveler who has finally reached the sanctuary of their own quiet, infinite potential. The hours have folded into one another, creating a timeless space where you have become a part of the courtyard's very soul. The air is remarkably crisp, carrying the scent of the cooling earth and the faint sweet promise of a distant garden, and you find that you are breathing in the very essence of tranquility. Every breath is a slow, measured gift to yourself, a way of signaling to your spirit that it is finally time to let go of the last remnants of the day. You are deeply connected to the legacy of this place, sensing the generations of artisans who sat in this exact spot, finding the same clarity, the same peace, and the same joy in the simplicity of their work. You are a bridge between the past and the present, a quiet link in a chain of human experience that values the beauty of the slow and the steady. If you have felt the transformative power of this quiet space, and if you wish to continue receiving these moments of historical calm, please consider subscribing to our channel and sharing this journey with a friend who might also need a sanctuary. We believe in the power of deep, imaginative listening to reshape our daily experience, and your support allows us to keep these doors open for everyone, regardless of where they are in their own personal journeys. The darkness feels heavy and protective, a warm, protective blanket that keeps your mind shielded from the distractions of the world. You are in a state of grace, a place where the ego has vanished and only the pure bright light of awareness remains. You see the pattern of the lotus flowers in your mind's eye, the intricate, beautiful geometry that you watched being printed throughout the long, slow afternoon, and you realize that this pattern is a map for your own life. It is a pattern of growth, of unfolding, and of beauty born from the repetition of small focused actions. You are becoming this pattern layer by layer, imprint by imprint, and the result is a soul that is more patient, more resilient, and more at peace. You are not the same person who stepped into this courtyard hours ago. You have been shaped by the shadow, the stone, and the artisan's rhythm, and you feel a quiet, profound gratitude for the transformation. The night will eventually give way to the day, but you will carry this night within you, a reservoir of stillness that you can tap into whenever the world starts to pull at your sleeves. You are building a home for your spirit, and you are building it with the bricks of silence and the mortar of your own deep, unhurried attention. The darkness is your teacher, the stillness is your guide, and the peace you have found here is your reward. You are ready now to step into the final, deepest reaches of your rest, where you will dream the dreams of the lotus and wake to the possibilities of a new, clear, and focused morning, fully prepared to bring the stillness of the veranda back into the world that so desperately needs it. The profound darkness of the pre-dawn hour offers a quality of silence that feels almost sacred. It is as if the universe is holding its breath, waiting for the first tentative finger of light to touch the sandstone parapets of the courtyard. You remain in this state of deep suspension, your consciousness floating on the surface of a dream, untethered from the rigid demands of the waking world. The coolness of the veranda has seeped into your very bones, not as a chill, but as a stabilizing force, a quiet anchor that keeps you firmly placed within the sanctuary. You have traveled a long way from the person who first walked through the teak doors of this house, the one burdened by the heat and the noise of the city. That version of you seems like a distant, slightly frantic memory, a shadow that has been left behind in the harsh light of the day. Now, you are refined by the hours of stillness, polished by the repetitive, calming presence of the artisan's work, and sheltered by the historical weight of these ancient stones. You feel as though you have been returned to a state of primal integrity, where your heartbeat is your only clock and your breath is your only task. The scent of the indigo remains a faint, lingering perfume that reminds you of the deep, oceanic colors that were birthed on the printing table. It is an aroma that signifies completion, a sign that the work was done well, and that the fabric is resting, just as you are. You find that you have developed a new relationship with silence. You no longer fear the gaps in conversation or the voids in your schedule. Instead, you see them as spaces for potential, as clean, empty pages where you can choose to write a story of calm rather than a ledger of obligations. This, you realize, is the most valuable gift the courtyard has bestowed upon you, the permission to pause, the understanding that you do not need to fill every second with noise to feel that your life has meaning. The architecture around you, with its fluted pillars and high-vaulted arches, seems to vibrate with a soft humming energy, as if it is storing the peace you have cultivated to share with the next traveler who finds their way here. You are a part of that legacy now, a guardian of the quiet, a witness to the enduring, unhurried nature of beauty. As the darkness begins to thin, turning from a deep, velvety black to a soft charcoal gray, you feel a gentle ripple of energy moving through the house, the stirrings of a new day that feels fresh, clean, and full of possibility. You are not yet ready to leave this sanctuary, and you don't have. You are allowed to linger in this transition, to savor the final precious moments of your vigil before the world wakes up. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for this entire experience, for the way it has allowed you to shed the unnecessary and embrace the essential. The peace you have built is not a fleeting emotion. It is a permanent foundation, a secret garden within your own heart that you can return to at any time, in any place, and under any sky. You are resting in the grace of your own stillness, waiting for the dawn with the quiet, expectant joy of someone who knows that they are exactly where they need to be, safe in the cool, timeless arms of the Jaipur night. The air is beginning to shift, carrying the first faint and exhilarating promise of the morning. A soft, cool breeze, fresh from the desert beyond the city walls, moves through the courtyard, stirring the heavy silence and bringing with it the scent of awakening jasmine. You are still tucked against the cool sandstone of the pillar, watching the transformation of the world around you with a wide, calm, and attentive gaze. The artisan's workspace is now visible in the soft gray light, the table standing as a silent monument to the work that transpired under your observation. It feels as if the very air in the courtyard has been washed clean, revitalized by the long, quiet watch you have kept throughout the night. You have reached a level of clarity that is almost luminous. You can see the grain of the stone, the texture of the fabric, and the delicate patterns of the dust motes dancing in the increasing light with a precision that borders on awe. This is the clarity of a spirit that has been fully, deeply rested. The work you observed, that steady, hypnotic repetition of the block, has become a metaphor for your own life's purpose: to act with intention, to move with grace, and to leave behind something beautiful in the places you inhabit. We hope that this journey through the shaded veranda of Jaipur has provided you with the peace you were seeking, and that you carry this stillness with you as you step back into your own day. Sleepy History with Arthur is committed to providing these moments of historical refuge. So please remember to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel, as your continued presence is what builds our shared community of peace. As the first golden sliver of the sun strikes the upper parapets, the courtyard is transformed, the deep shadows retreating to reveal a warm, glowing amber light that turns the sandstone walls into a brilliant, honey-colored sanctuary. It is a moment of pure, unadulterated beauty, a visual hymn to the arrival of a new, clean beginning. You feel yourself waking up, not with the abrupt shock of a clock's alarm, but with the slow, blooming awareness of a flower opening to the light. The rest you have found is not gone. It has simply settled into your limbs and your mind, a quiet, resilient strength that you are ready to carry with you. You feel a deep, abiding connection to the artisan, to the house, and to the history that you have shared this night. You are ready to step out of the veranda, to leave the safety of the pillars, and to move into the world, but you do so with a heart that is anchored in the peace you have cultivated. You are no longer the same person who arrived in the afternoon heat. You are someone who knows the value of the shade, the rhythm of the block, and the deep restorative power of the silence. You take one last long breath, savoring the cool morning air, and you allow yourself to stand, feeling the strength and the calm that have been gifted to you by this ancient, beautiful place. The morning has fully arrived, bathing the courtyard in a soft golden warmth that feels like a benediction. You are standing in the center of the space, feeling the sun begin to gently wake the stone, the plants, and the very air itself. The world outside is beginning to wake as well. You can hear the faint distant sounds of Jaipur stirring, the clatter of a cart, the low murmur of voices, the sharp clear cry of a street vendor. But instead of feeling overwhelmed, you find that these sounds are simply part of the tapestry of life, a vibrant, energetic counterpoint to the peace you have stored within. You feel a sense of profound, unshakable gratitude for the night you have spent here. You have learned that the world can be a noisy, demanding place, but you have also learned that you possess the power to retreat, to center yourself, and to find the stillness that exists beneath the surface of all things. You walk toward the heavy teak doors, your steps quiet and deliberate on the flagstones. You pause for one final moment to look back at the veranda, the cool, shaded, stone-pillared sanctuary that held you when you needed it most. It looks exactly the same, yet to you it has become a symbol of something far greater, a mental and spiritual refuge that you can return to whenever the world becomes too much. You reach out and touch the stone, feeling the lingering coolness beneath the morning sun, a final physical connection to the history and the peace of this place. You turn and push the doors open, stepping out from the sanctuary and back into the life that awaits you. The heat of the morning is already beginning to build. The dust of the city is already swirling in the streets. But you are not the same. You move with a different grace. You listen with a different intent. and you carry the cool, dark, and beautiful silence of the veranda in your heart. You have been changed by the rhythm of the block and the weight of the stone, and you know that you are now a bearer of that peace. As you walk down the narrow, sun-drenched street, you feel a sense of lightness that is entirely new. You are no longer in a hurry because you know that the most important part of your journey is the quality of your presence. You have found the secret of the artisan, the secret of the courtyard, and the secret of the night. That everything is unfolding, that everything is enough, and that everything is, in its own way, perfectly, beautifully still. You carry the lotus pattern with you, not on fabric, but in your consciousness. A reminder that beauty is something you create, hour by hour, breath by breath. The day is yours to live, but the night remains yours to remember. A deep indigo reservoir of calm that will sustain you through whatever challenges may come. You are home, not in a house, but within your own quiet and wonderfully peaceful spirit. And as you walk forward, you find that you are smiling, for you are finally, truly, and completely at ease in the world. The world outside the courtyard gates is beginning to pulse with the rhythmic energy of a new day. But your perception of this activity has fundamentally shifted. As you navigate the winding sun-baked alleys of Jaipur, you find that the frantic pace of the street is no longer something you are swept along by, but something you are observing with a detached, serene awareness. The lessons of the veranda, the patience of the artisan, the endurance of the stone, the rhythmic grace of the printing block have become internal coordinates for your own movement through the city. You notice the vibrant colors of the market stalls, the sharp metallic tang of the coppersmiths at work, and the complex spicy aroma of street food. But these are no longer overwhelming sensory inputs. They are simply the textures of life in motion. You realize that you carry the cool, dark sanctuary with you, a portable inner sanctum that remains untouched by the external heat. You walk with a deliberate, measured step, reflecting the cadence of the work you witnessed. And you find that this shift in tempo changes the way the city reacts to you. There is less resistance, less friction, and more space. You are no longer trying to force your way through the day. You are allowing the day to unfold around you, meeting it with the same equanimity that the artisan showed his fabric. You think of the lotus motifs, those delicate indigo printed flowers, and how they blossomed under his steady hand. You decide that today your own actions will be like those prints, intentional, carefully placed, and beautiful in their quiet consistency. The sun is climbing higher, casting sharp, angular shadows against the brightly painted walls of the houses. And yet you do not feel the sun's bite. You feel protected by the layers of stillness you have cultivated, a thermal insulation for the soul that keeps you centered regardless of the ambient temperature. You pass by a group of merchants arguing over prices, their voices raised in the traditional passionate theater of commerce, and you smile. A few hours ago, this might have grated on your nerves, but now it is merely the background noise of the human experience, a chaotic, colorful, and necessary part of the world's ongoing design. You are an observer, a witness to the beauty of the ordinary, and you have no need to participate in the discord. Your mind is a clear, open space where you can retreat whenever the conversation turns too loud or the demands become too heavy. You are grateful for the memory of the veranda, for the coolness of the sandstone, and for the way the indigo dye smelled like the deep, earthy wisdom of the ages. You are moving through the city not as a stranger, but as someone who has found a fundamental truth about how to exist within it. You are becoming a vessel of that peace, and as you continue your journey, you find that your mere presence seems to offer a moment of calm to those who brush past you. You are in every step, honoring the work of the master printer, turning your own life into an impression that is steady, true, and deeply, profoundly at rest. As you reach the threshold of your own temporary residence, you find yourself pausing before entering. The transition from the public intensity of the city back into the privacy of your own space is a moment you would have usually hurried through, eager to escape the heat or the noise. Today, however, you treat it with the same reverence you showed at the courtyard's entrance. You stand for a moment in the doorway, observing the dust dancing in the shafts of light, appreciating the architecture, and breathing in the air with a newfound intentional appreciation. You have realized that home is not a physical location, but a state of being that you can inhabit anywhere. The peace you discover on the veranda is not tied to those specific stones or their specific artisan. It is a way of perceiving and interacting with the world that you have now claimed as your own. You step inside and the familiarity of your own surroundings greets you with a warmth that feels different today. It is no longer just a place to rest your head. It is a place where you can continue the practice of stillness. You set your things down not with a clatter but with a gentle, considered movement. You pour a glass of water, feeling the cool liquid against the glass, sensing the temperature of the air, and tasting the simple, refreshing clarity of the water on your tongue. You are performing the ordinary tasks of life with extraordinary attention, and in doing so, you are maintaining the sacred space you built under the arches of the veranda. There is a deep, quiet satisfaction in this. You don't need a monument to your peace. You need only the consistent daily maintenance of your own heart. You sit by an open window, watching the city continue its frantic, beautiful dance outside. You see the pigeons circling the temple roofs, the kites darting against the blue sky, and the people hurrying about their lives, and you feel a profound sense of connection to it all. You are part of this human tapestry, but you are a part that has learned to weave its own calmer thread. You feel the residue of the night's rest still lingering in your body, a quiet, humming energy that is both restorative and expansive. You decide to keep the day simple. There is no need for complexity or excessive stimulation. You will focus on the tasks that require your attention, but you will do so with the artisan's focus, one action at a time, one breath at a time, one impression at a time. The rest of the day will be a continuation of the piece you established. You are the architect of your own century, and you have the tools you need to maintain it. As the afternoon begins to turn, you feel the soft, familiar pull of the cool hours, and you know that you will end this day exactly as you began it, in a state of gratitude, in a state of grace, and in a state of absolute unbreakable peace. The sun is beginning its slow golden decline, and the light in your room has taken on that same soft quality that enchanted you on the veranda. You are sitting quietly, reflecting on the journey that brought you from the heat of the afternoon to this present moment of calm. It is a beautiful circular story, a journey that began with a search for refuge and ended with the discovery that the refuge was already inside you. You feel a sense of profound completeness. The lotus pattern, the indigo dye, the steady thud of the block. These are no longer just memories, they are part of your identity, the foundation of a new, more peaceful way of being in the world. You realize that you have effectively printed your own consciousness using the experiences of the last 24 hours as your dye and your intention as your block. The pattern is clear, beautiful, and enduring. You are not the same person you were when you started this inquiry. You have grown, shifted, and expanded in ways that feel both subtle and monumental. You are more comfortable with the silence, more resilient in the face of chaos, and more appreciative of the hidden beauty in the world. As you look out the window, you see the sky turning that same deep bruised indigo color that you remember so vividly from the night. It is a sign, a gentle cosmic nod of approval. The world continues, the cycles persist, and you are harmonized with it all. You are ready for the night ahead, not because you need to escape the day, but because you know how to embrace the stillness that follows. You find that you are looking forward to the quiet, to the darkness, and to the restorative embrace of sleep, because you now understand that rest is the most productive and beautiful work you can do. You are not finishing a task. You are beginning a cycle of renewal that will sustain you for all the days to come. You feel a deep, abiding love for the artisan, the veranda, the city of Jaipur, and the entire magnificent and often chaotic world that has led you to this moment. You are at you are home. You are in every possible sense, exactly where you are meant to be. The transition to the evening is seamless, a soft folding of light into shadow that mirrors the transition within your own heart. You are ready to let the day fall away, to surrender the final remnants of your conscious activity, and to step into the cool, dark halls of your rest, confident that you will rise tomorrow, not as a weary traveler, but as a peaceful inhabitant of your own, deeply cultivated and eternally tranquil life. The story does not end here. It simply begins a new quiet chapter, one written in the language of stillness, and you are the author, the witness, and the living, breathing, peaceful result. The evening air in your room has begun to cool, mirroring the gentle descent of the sun and the quiet settling of the city around you. You sit in the deepening twilight, watching the shadows stretch across the floor, and you realize that you are practicing the same patient observation you learned on the veranda. This practice has become a second nature, a quiet habit of the soul that replaces the restlessness you once felt as the day drew to a close. There is no longer a frantic need to occupy the hours, no desperate scramble to finish tasks, and no underlying anxiety about the productivity of your day. You have learned the grace of simply being, and it is a gift that sustains you with a quiet inner warmth. You trace the patterns in your mind, the intricate woven jasmine and the blooming lotus, and you understand that these designs are metaphors for the life you are now building. Just as the artisan carefully considered the placement of every impression, you are now considering the placement of your own energies, your own time, and your own attention. You are no longer printing your days with the chaotic overlapping marks of hurry. You are printing them with the clear, purposeful, and deliberate strokes of intention. The indigo and the madder are gone, but their essence remains in the way you perceive the color of the dusk, which now seems to carry a depth and a richness you hadn't noticed before. You are seeing the world through a new lens, one polished by the stillness you cultivated. It is a lens that highlights the beauty of the ordinary, the way a bird flits across the darkening sky, the way the sound of a distant temple bell resonates through the thick evening air, and the way the quiet, steady rhythm of your own breathing becomes the most important sound in the room. You find yourself smiling in the dark, a small private gesture of contentment that speaks to the peace you have finally claimed for your own. There is no loneliness in this solitude. It is a full, vibrant communion with your own self, a chance to appreciate the person you have become through the simple act of listening to the quiet. You are safe, you are grounded, and you are prepared for the night. The transition into the evening is not an ending, but a transition into a different mode of existence, one where the mind can let go of the analytical and embrace the intuitive. You feel the pull of the night, a gentle, welcoming tide that invites you to drift, and you find that you are more than happy to follow where it leads. The memories of the veranda are now the bedrock of your nightly ritual, a set of mental images you can retreat to whenever the world demands too much of your focus. You are the architect of your own rest, and tonight you are building a shelter of profound, unshakable calm. As the stars emerge one by one, you realize that you are not just watching the night, you are participating in it, a quiet, breathing part of the grand silent design that stretches out across the horizon, and you are entirely content to let the darkness carry you into the deep, restorative rest that you have so thoroughly earned. The night has fully claimed the city, but within the walls of your own space there is a luminous internal quiet that feels entirely your own. You have moved into the final stages of the day with a sense of deliberate, almost ceremonial care. You prepare for rest, not as a chore, but as an act of profound self-respect. Every movement is a continuation of the peace you established on the veranda. You move with the same economy of motion as the artisan, You observe your surroundings with the same stillness of the observer, and you breathe with the same rhythmic, steady cadence of the night itself. It is a beautiful way to live, to turn even the mundane acts of preparation into a meditation. And you find that this focus anchors you in a way that nothing else ever has. You think about the stone floors, the cool, fluted pillars, and the way the shadows danced in the heart of the courtyard, and you realize that these memories are now a part of your own structure. They are the scaffolding upon which you have built your own sense of calm. You are no longer easily shaken by the external, because you have established a firm, unshakable core of stillness that is immune to the vagaries of the day. The city outside may be bustling, it may be noisy, and it may be filled with its own urgent, frantic business. But here, in the sanctuary of your own consciousness, there is only the slow, deep, and peaceful rotation of the earth. You are entirely at one with this motion. You feel the cool air settling into the room, a gentle presence that wraps around you like a soft, invisible blanket, and you allow yourself to sink into it, feeling the last stubborn remnants of tension in your shoulders and your neck dissolve. There is no need for anything else. You have all that you need within your own mind, the images of beauty, the memory of the rhythm, and the profound, unshakable knowledge that you are enough. The night is a vast open sea of possibility, and you are ready to set sail into the deepest, calmest parts of it, where the dream state will allow you to consolidate the lessons of the day into the wisdom of the soul. You are grateful for the artisan, for the veranda, for the dice, and for every moment of the day that brought you to this state of grace. You are a person transformed, not by grand, sudden changes, but by the quiet, persistent accumulation of still moments. As you lie down, you feel the bed beneath you not just as a piece of furniture, but as a place of transformation, a cradle for the restoration of your spirit. You close your eyes, and the darkness is no longer a challenge, but a warm, welcoming invitation to delve into the depths of your own peaceful subconscious. And you know with absolute certainty that you will wake in the morning as someone who has mastered the art of being. Someone who knows that the true rhythm of life is found not in the haste of the city, but in the cool, silent, and steady thud of the heart. You have reached the final quiet edge of the day, a moment of such profound stillness that it feels as though the entire world has paused, just for you to acknowledge the beauty of your rest. You are suspended in this golden, breathless moment, your mind a crystal clear reflection of the peace you have cultivated. There is a sense of immense, quiet joy in realizing that you have succeeded in bringing the veranda's tranquility into your own life. It is not an ephemeral feeling that will vanish with the dawn. It is a permanent change in your architecture, a strengthening of the foundations that will support you through whatever tomorrow brings. You feel the slow, rhythmic beating of your own heart, and it is a sound that brings you immense comfort. It is the metronome of your existence, a steady, persistent indicator of your life force, and you have finally learned to listen to it with the attention it deserves. You think of the artisan again, not as a teacher, but as a mirror, and you realize that the peace he demonstrated was always within you, waiting to be acknowledged and practiced. You have practiced it today, and the results are a calm, centered, and deeply satisfied soul. You are ready to let go of the last faint impressions of the day, the colors, the sounds, the textures, and the thoughts, and to step into the vast, silent, and wonderfully restorative ocean of sleep. You have no fear of the dark, for the dark is merely the canvas upon which you will paint the dreams of your own quieted and replenished spirit. You are drifting now, the edges of your consciousness blurring into the soft velvet indigo of the night, and you find that you are completely, blissfully weightless. There is no more work to be done. There are no more impressions to be made. The pattern is set, the work is finished, and the day has been a beautiful, complete, and perfectly lived experience. You feel the cool, clean air of the night washing over you, a final, gentle benediction, and you allow yourself to sink deep into the foundation of your own being. where the peace is endless and the rest is perfect. You are safe, you are whole, you are at rest. The world is spinning on, guided by its own ancient and beautiful rhythms, and you are in perfect, total, and profound alignment with that movement. As you finally let go, you know that the peace you have found is not a destination but a companion, one that will walk with you through every day that follows, a constant, quiet, and beautiful presence that is always and will always be exactly where you need it to be within the cool, still, and infinite sanctuary of your own calm heart. The dawn has begun to break with a quiet, persistent elegance, a soft gradient of light that slowly pushes back the edges of the night. You find yourself suspended in the liminal space between the depths of sleep and the gentle emergence of the day, a state of grace where the mind is still quiet but the spirit is beginning to stir with a soft, anticipatory energy. The room around you feels filled with the stillness you cultivated, a lingering resonance from the long, restorative night that seems to have soaked into the very walls. You lie perfectly still, observing the way the light catches the dust in the air, a familiar meditative dance that connects you to the experience on the veranda. You realize that you have effectively bridged the gap between that ancient stone pillared sanctuary and the modern everyday reality of your own home. The transition is seamless because the peace you found is not dependent on the geography of Jaipur. It is dependent on the geography of your own attention. You feel a sense of profound quiet victory. You have proven to yourself that the chaos of the world does not have to be your own chaos. You have proven that you can retreat, rest, and emerge with a clarity that is untouched by the frantic pace of the outside. The morning light is not a demand, it is an invitation. It invites you to step out of the stillness and into the activity of the day, but it asks that you do so with the same intentionality you witnessed in the master printer. You think of the lotus flowers again, but this time you see them as a symbol of your own unfolding. You are not meant to stay in the dark forever. You are meant to rise, to blossom, and to carry the coolness of the night into the heat of the day. You feel a deep, abiding gratitude for the tools you have sharpened, the tools of focus, of patience, and of non attachment. These are the tools that will allow you to navigate the coming day without losing your center. You realize that the work of living is much like the work of the artisan. It is a series of deliberate choices, a sequence of thoughtful actions, and a commitment to the quality of the process rather than just the outcome. As the sun begins to warm the room, you feel the familiar, comforting weight of your own body, and you know that you are fully refreshed, fully present, and fully prepared. There is no need for haste. You will rise when the moment is right, and you will move through your morning with the same unhurried grace that characterized your watch on the veranda. You are a different person than the one who started this journey, for you have discovered the profound secret power of the pause, and you know that no matter what the day brings, you have the ability to return to this sanctuary of stillness, to find the cool, dark floor of your own mind, and to sit for a moment in the perfect, undisturbed company of your own peaceful spirit. The first rays of the sun have now fully entered the room, turning the space into a warm amber-lit haven of beginning. You rise from your rest with a fluidity that mirrors the calm you feel within, your movements conscious and deliberate. There is no trace of the heavy, lingering grogginess that often plagues the start of a day. Instead, you feel a bright, clear sense of readiness, as if the night has scrubbed your spirit clean. You move toward the window and look out at the world, which is just beginning its daily frantic ascent. The sounds of the city are rising. The distant, rhythmic hum of traffic, the chatter of neighbors, the early morning birds calling to one another. But they no longer feel like an intrusion. They feel like the natural, inevitable soundtrack of a living, breathing world. And you are simply a note in that harmony. You find that you are looking at the same familiar sights with fresh eyes, seeing the beauty in the way the sunlight hits the rooftops, the way the shadows are cast across the street, and the way the morning mist still clings to the edges of the horizon. You have developed an eye for the quiet, and it is a gift that makes even the most ordinary day feel like a treasure. You spend a few moments in silent reflection, standing in the middle of your room, feeling the strength and the suppleness of your body. You are ready. You have spent the last day and night building a sanctuary of patience, and you are now prepared to walk into the world as a carrier of that peace. You think of the artisan's hands, stained, calloused, and utterly capable, and you look at your own. They are the instruments of your purpose, the tools through which you will imprint your own brand of quiet order onto the fabric of the day. You feel a sense of responsibility to the peace you have cultivated. It is not something to be discarded the moment you leave your front door. It is something to be guarded, protected, and shared through the way you speak, the way you listen, and the way you act. You are an ambassador of the still. As you prepare your morning, you do so with the same meticulous care as the printer preparing his vats. Every action, from the way you dress to the way you prepare your tea, is a continuation of the meditation. You're finding that there is no line between life and meditation. Everything is an opportunity to be present, to be intentional, and to be at peace. The morning is unfolding perfectly, and you are moving with it, a graceful, steady part of the morning's flow. You feel a deep, profound sense of joy, a quiet, humming happiness that seems to vibrate just beneath the surface of your skin. It is the joy of the simple, the joy of the present, and the joy of knowing that you have finally found the key to your own internal and eternally quiet courtyard. You are ready to step out, to engage with the world, and to live this day in full, vivid, and beautifully unhurried color. The world is now wide awake, and you are stepping out to meet it, carrying the quiet of the Jaipur night as a protective mantle around your shoulders. As you open your door and walk out into the light, the first thing you notice is the air. It is crisp, promising heat, but you feel only a cool, refreshing clarity. You have mastered the art of carrying your sanctuary with you. As you move through the streets, you notice that your perception is sharper, more focused, and infinitely more patient. You see the people around you, the vendors, the students, the workers, the children, and instead of feeling the usual reflexive sense of distance or annoyance, you feel a deep, empathetic connection to the shared human effort of existing. Everyone you see is an artisan, working on the fabric of their own lives, and you are a fellow traveler in this great communal endeavor. You walk with a steady, grounded rhythm, and you find that you are the one setting the pace. The city can be frantic, but you do not have to mirror its frantic energy. You can be a point of stillness in the middle of the motion, a reminder that peace is always a possibility. You pause at a street corner, watching the light change, and you take a moment to breathe, to look up at the sky, and to ground yourself in the earth beneath your feet. It is a brief, private, and powerful moment of return, a way to refresh the memory of the veranda and keep the sanctuary's influence active in your current moment. You are not ignoring the world. You are engaging with it more fully because you are not being dragged along by its currents. You are observing, responding, and creating your own quiet path. You feel a quiet internal smile as you realize that the lesson of the veranda was never about the retreat itself. It was about the return. It was about finding the capacity to carry the stillness back out into the light and to let it influence the way you touch the world. The lotus flowers are no longer just an image in your mind. They are the pattern of your own deliberate actions throughout the day. You are the printer, and the day is your fabric. You are going to make it something beautiful, something thoughtful, and something calm. As you continue on your way, you feel a deep, unwavering sense of gratitude for the entire journey, from the moment you found the shade of the stone pillars to the moment you stood in the light of the morning. You have been changed, you have been renewed, and you have been given the most precious gift of all, the knowledge that peace is not something you find in the world, but something you bring to it. You are stepping into the fullness of your day, a master of your own quiet, a guardian of your own calm, and a witness to the simple, enduring beauty of existence. The world is waiting for you, and you are ready, fully prepared to leave your own beautiful and steady mark on the unfolding of the day. The day has reached its zenith, and the sun hangs high and golden in the sky, casting short, sharp shadows that seem to anchor the world in place. You are moving through the city with a sense of purpose that is entirely different from the urgency that used to define your hours. In the past, you might have felt the heat of the midday sun as a personal affront, a drain on your energy that necessitated a frantic search for distraction or relief. Today, however, you move through the shimmering heat with a strange cool resilience. You are reminded of the sandstone walls of the veranda, those thick ancient barriers that absorb the sun's fire and turn it into a hushed internal climate. You realize that you are mirroring that architecture. Within you, there is a core of coolness, a deep-seated place of refuge that remains untouched by the external conditions. You find yourself observing the ebb and flow of the street with a quiet, analytical grace. You see a vendor arranging his wares, brightly colored spices piled in geometric cones, and you appreciate the patience required to maintain such an order in the middle of a bustling market. You see a student sitting by a temple gate, reading a book while the world rushes past, and you recognize that same focused stillness you practice yourself. It is as if you are finally seeing the hidden patterns of the world, the small, quiet acts of dignity and grace that hold the fabric of society together. You are no longer just a passenger in your own life. You are a conscious participant in the beauty of the everyday. As you walk, you find yourself breathing in the scent of the city, the dust, the roasting chickpeas, the faint, sweet trace of incense, and you find that even the most chaotic odors have a certain grounding honesty to them. You are no longer looking for an escape because you have found that the escape was always an illusion. The reality is that peace is not the absence of the world, but the presence of a steady, quiet mind within the world. You stop for a moment to rest under the shade of a large ancient tree, and you lean your back against its rough weathered bark, feeling the life pulse of the earth beneath you. It is a moment of total connection, a reminder that you are part of an organic, unfolding, and eternal process. You watch the leaves tremble in a light breeze, and you are struck by the way they surrender to the wind moving with it rather than against it. There is a profound, silent wisdom in that surrender, and you feel yourself loosening your own resistance to the day. You don't need to control the sun, the wind, or the crowd. You only need to control your own posture, your own breath, and your own perspective. You are finding that the more you relinquish the need for control, the more empowered you actually become. You are flowing with the day, a part of its rhythm, rather than a friction against it. And this realization brings a surge of quiet, expansive joy. You are finally, truly, and completely at ease. A traveler who has stopped searching for destination because you realize that the path itself is the destination, and every step is an opportunity to practice the presence you learned under the veranda's cool, protective grace. The afternoon sun is beginning its long, slow retreat, and the light is taking on a warmer, honeyed quality that reminds you of the quiet, beautiful hours you spent in the courtyard. You find that you are naturally slowing your pace, your internal clock, adjusting to the rhythm of the day's decline. There is a deep, abiding contentment in this transition. You have navigated the heat, the noise, and the demands of the day, and you have done so with a spirit that remains largely unshaken. This is the fruit of your labor, the ability to remain anchored in your own calm regardless of the environment. You find yourself reflecting on the nature of memory, how the sensory details of the veranda, the indigo smell, the resonant thud of the printing block, the cool, smooth stone have become a part of your own mental furniture. They are there whenever you need them, a permanent installation of peace that you can visit at any time. It is a powerful realization that you carry your own salvation with you. You are your own sanctuary. As you walk toward home, you see the city beginning to transition into its evening mode. The street lamps are flicking on, one by one, casting a soft yellow glow against the darkening walls, and the sounds of the day are softening into the expectant, gentle hum of the night. You feel a sense of kinship with the city. It is a tired, hard-working entity that is also looking for its rest, just as you are. You see a young child playing with a stick in the gutter, completely absorbed in the moment, and you recognize that same pure and undivided attention that the artisan gave to his fabric. You are seeing the world through eyes that have been washed by stillness, and it is a world that is profoundly, achingly beautiful in its simplicity. You don't feel the need to be anywhere else or to be doing anything else. You are exactly where you are, and that is more than enough. The journey has been a circle, a return to the source, and a discovery of the hidden potential within your own daily life. You have learned that the veranda was not a magical place. It was a place where you were forced to stop long enough to notice the magic that is everywhere. You are taking that lesson home with you, to your own room, to your own life, to your own heart. You are ready to close the day, to gather your thoughts, and to settle into the quiet, dark, and deeply restorative rhythm of the night, confident that you have lived well, that you have seen clearly, and that you have held on to the peace that is your birthright. The sun is now a thin red line on the horizon, and you feel the coolness of the evening reaching out to greet you. A final gentle reminder that the night is a gift, a soft protective embrace that is ready to hold you until the cycle begins again in the morning. The night has arrived with a soft velvet touch, and you are back in the quiet safety of your own space, feeling a profound sense of completeness. You have walked the full circle of the day, carrying the lessons of the veranda into the heart of the city and bringing the wisdom of the city back into your own private sanctuary. You sit by the window, watching the stars come out, and you realize that you're feeling a deep, resonating sense of gratitude for everything that has led you to this moment. The day was not just a sequence of events, it was a masterclass in the art of existence, a series of lessons in how to be, how to see, and how to remain anchored in the middle of a moving world. You have learned that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but the architect of your own internal climate. You can create your own shade, your own stillness, and your own peace, and you can do so in the middle of any heat, any noise, and any challenge. You think of the lotus patterns, those indigo impressions that you watched being made, and you realize that you are now the artisan of your own life. You are the one who chooses the block. You are the one who determines the pressure, and you are the one who decides what patterns you will leave on the fabric of your life. This is a heavy but incredibly liberating responsibility. You are the creator, and the only limit to the peace you can find is the depth of your own intentional practice. As you prepare for sleep, you do so with a sense of quiet final purpose. You are not running from the day, you are fully integrated with it. You are not rushing to the morning, you are savoring the final precious moments of the night. You feel the cool air against your skin, the steady rhythm of your own heart, and the deep, abiding sense of belonging that comes from knowing you are exactly where you are meant to be. The night is a vast open book, and you are ready to rest between its pages, confident that you have lived this chapter with grace, with focus, and with a heart that is completely at ease. You close your eyes, and the darkness is no longer a void, but a rich, fertile soil in which the seeds of your peace will grow, ready to bloom into a new, clear, and focused life when the dawn eventually returns. You are safe, you are whole, you are at rest. The veranda is within you, the artisan is within you, and the stillness is within you, a constant, quiet, and beautiful presence that will guide you through all the days of your life. A traveler who has finally come home to the infinite, restorative, and perfectly peaceful sanctuary of their own soul. The morning light filters through your window with a gentle, persistent warmth, inviting you to embrace the day, not as a list of tasks to be conquered, but as a continuation of the peace you have cultivated. You sit up, feeling a profound sense of clarity that seems to permeate your very being. The memories of the veranda, the coolness of the sandstone, the rhythmic thud of the printing block, the earthy scent of the indigo are no longer just memories, they have become the bedrock of your consciousness. You move through your morning routines with an intentionality that feels almost ceremonial. You brush your hair, you prepare your tea, you open the window to the city, and with each action, you are practicing the same careful precision that the artisan applied to his fabric. You realize that the quality of your life is determined not by what you do, but by how you do it. By infusing each moment with attention and presence, you are effectively printing your own day with a design of grace and purpose. The city outside is rising, the early morning traffic beginning to form its familiar chaotic hum. But you find that your reaction to it is entirely different now. You are no longer agitated by the sound of the world. You are simply witnessing the vibrant, messy, beautiful life of the city. You recognize that every person you see is also an artisan, each of them printing their own complex, unfolding designs onto the fabric of the community. Some are printing with haste, others with caution, and some with a joy that is infectious. You feel a deep, quiet empathy for them all. You have found your own rhythm, a steady, unhurried cadence that serves as a protective barrier against the stress of the modern world. You feel the coolness of the morning air, a refreshing, crisp breeze that fills your lungs, and you know that you are ready for whatever the day may bring. You are not bracing yourself for conflict. You are opening yourself to the potential of the day. You are fully present, fully awake, and fully at peace. The knowledge that you have a sanctuary inside you, a veranda of the mind, is a constant source of quiet strength. You can reach for it whenever the intensity of the day rises, and you know it will be there, waiting with its cool stone and its rhythmic silence. As you finally step out into the day, you do so with a heart that is light, a mind that is clear, and a spirit that is entirely aligned with the unfolding of the present moment. You are not a guest in the world anymore. You are a participant, a creator, and a guardian of your own, deeply cultivated and enduring peace. Walking through the streets of Jaipur, you find that the city itself seems to be responding to your internal state. Because you are not projecting haste or anxiety, you find that the world flows around you with a strange, accommodating ease. You observe the way the light hits the ancient walls of the bazaar, turning the dust into gold, and you are reminded of how you felt when you were sitting on the veranda, watching the afternoon shadows lengthen. The beauty of the world is not hidden. It is simply waiting for a mind that is quiet enough to see it. You find yourself stopping frequently, not because you are lost, but because you are captivated by the small overlooked details, the way a flower grows through a crack in the pavement, the way a bird lands on a ledge, the way the sound of a distant prayer echoes through the narrow lanes. You are living in a state of constant gentle discovery. You realize that you have moved beyond the need to document or analyze. You simply exist, and in that existence you find an endless well of satisfaction. The heat is beginning to rise, the sun reaching its full meridian power, but you remain untouched, a cool shaded oasis in the middle of the desert air. You are carrying the veranda with you, the cool sandstone pillars, and the heavy protective roof of your own intention. It is a powerful invisible shield, a manifestation of your internal resolve to remain at peace. No matter the external conditions, you pass a group of elders sitting in the shade of a temple wall, their faces etched with the lines of long, full lives, and you offer them a silent, respectful nod. You see in their eyes a recognition of the calm you are carrying, a shared, silent language of those who understand that life is best lived in a state of quiet, focused awareness. You are becoming a part of the city's deeper, slower heartbeat, the one that pulses beneath the surface of the trade and the traffic. You are finding that this rhythm is a source of immense power. By slowing down, you are actually seeing more, understanding more, and experiencing more than you ever did when you were rushing. You are savoring the flavor of the day, the nuance of the interactions, and the subtle unfolding wisdom of your own spirit. As the afternoon wanes and the light begins to shift toward the long golden shadows of the dusk, you feel a sense of accomplishment that has nothing to do with tasks completed. Your accomplishment is the day itself, a day lived with grace, a day lived with presence, and a day lived with an unwavering commitment to the stillness that you have finally made your own. As the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in colors that rival the dyes of the artisan's vats, you find yourself back in your own space, feeling a profound sense of completeness. The circle has closed, but it has closed at a higher level than where you began. You have lived the day with the same intentional beauty that the master printer applied to his fabric, and the result is a day that feels like a completed, perfect work of art. You sit by your window as the city transitions into the night, watching the transformation with a quiet, observant joy. You no longer need to be entertained. You no longer need to be distracted, and you no longer need to run. You are perfectly, entirely at home in your own company. You reflect on the journey you have taken from the initial desperate search for refuge to this final stable state of being, and you realize that every step, every hesitation, and every discovery was necessary. You have learned how to build your own sanctuary, and you have learned that the sanctuary is portable, internal, and always available. You think of the lotus pattern, the jasmine vine, and the geometric shapes that you saw printed on the cotton, and you realize that your own life is now taking on a similar deliberate form. You are weaving a life of beauty, one impression at a time, and it is a work that you will continue for the rest of your days. The night is approaching, a soft, dark, and welcoming friend that invites you to rest and to replenish the energy you have so consciously spent throughout the day. You prepare for the night with a final deliberate grace, knowing that the rest you find will be deep, restorative, and complete. You are entering the darkness not as someone who is tired or depleted, but as someone who is seasoned, prepared, and ready for the next day's unfolding. You close your eyes, and in the silence of your own mind, you return for one last time to the veranda, the cool stone-pillared oasis that started it all. You feel the stone beneath your back. You hear the muffled thud of the block, and you smell the faint sweet scent of the dye. It is all still there, a permanent, quiet, and beautiful part of your soul. You are safe. You are whole. You are at rest. The world is spinning. The stars are watching, and you are drifting into a sleep that is as deep, as dark, and as peaceful as the indigo night, ready to wake into a world that is only ever as quiet, as beautiful, and as still as you choose to make it. The dawn arrives with a soft, iridescent glow washing over the city of Jaipur in shades of peach and pale gold. You are already awake, having surfaced from a night of deep, dreamless sleep, your mind clear and your body feeling light, as if gravity itself has grown kinder to you. You stand by the window watching the city begin its slow, rhythmic ascent into the day. The sounds are distinct yet harmonious. The distant call of a temple bell, the soft sweeping of a broom on a stone porch, the gentle murmur of voices rising from the street below. Each sound is a note in a symphony that you are now able to appreciate with a heart full of gratitude. You feel a sense of profound, quiet stability. The veranda is no longer a physical place you must visit. It has become an integrated aspect of your internal landscape, a constant cool and shaded space you carry within. You move through your morning with a fluid, deliberate grace, each motion echoing the patience you witnessed in the artisan. You are the architect of your own stillness, and you find that the more you practice this presence, the more natural it becomes. The outside world, with all its heat and noise, is beginning to warm, but you are unaffected. You have cultivated an inner climate that remains balanced, a temperate, shaded, and peaceful zone that exists beneath the surface of all external chaos. You realize that your life is a long-form meditation, a series of deliberate impressions made upon the fabric of time. the lotus, the vine, the geometry of the print. These are not just designs, they are ways of being, methods of ordering your attention and your intention. You are no longer rushing toward an outcome because you understand that the outcome is found within the process itself. The cup of tea you hold is not just a drink, it is an opportunity to notice the warmth against your palms, the steam curling into the cool morning air, the subtle earthy flavor that grounds you in the immediate. You are finding that when you truly pay attention, everything becomes a teacher. You are becoming a master of your own focus, and this mastery is a source of quiet, unshakable power. As the sun climbs higher, you feel a surge of vibrant, clean energy, not a frantic, jagged rush, but a smooth flowing vitality that is ready to engage with the world. You step toward the door, feeling the coolness of the floor against your feet, and you realize that you are ready to be an artisan of your own day. You are going to print your intention on the wall with the same care, the same respect, and the same quiet devotion that the master printer showed his cotton. You are stepping into the light, not as someone who is seeking peace, but as someone who is actively manifesting it, a bearer of the quiet, and you are ready to meet the city as a participant in its beauty, fully present and profoundly at ease. You walk through the streets, and the city of Jaipur opens before you like a vast unfolding story. The vibrancy of the bazaar is an orchestra of sensory delight, the smell of cardamom and turmeric, the sight of vibrant silks swaying in the wind, the sound of rhythmic chatter in the lanes, but you are the calm eye in the center of the storm. You are walking with a measured, intentional gait, your posture relaxed, your eyes open, and your heart receptive. You notice a merchant meticulously arranging his display of copper pots, and you stop for a second to simply witness the pride in his posture, the care with which he handles his goods. It is a moment of shared human focus, a brief silent nod to the work that defines us all. He notices you, and for a fleeting second, your gazes lock, a recognition of one traveler by another before you move on with a gentle smile. You are finding that the world is full of these small, quiet resonances, if you only have the stillness to catch them. You reach a small courtyard, tucked away from the main road, and you sit on a stone bench for a moment, just to watch the way the light filters through the leaves of a banyan tree. The patterns of light and shadow on the ground are complex, ever-shifting, and utterly beautiful. You are reminded of the printing blocks, the way they took a complex idea and rendered it into a simple, beautiful, and repeatable truth. You realize that your own life is exactly the same. You are taking the complex, messy realities of the world and translating them into simple, repeatable truths of kindness, patience, and presence. The heat of the midday sun is rising, but you are protected by the shade of your own composure. You are a cool, shaded veranda in human form. You find that you can listen to a stranger's frustration without taking it on, that you can witness the rush of the traffic without feeling a need to match its beat, and that you can be fully engaged in a conversation while remaining entirely grounded in your own core. This is a profound, expansive freedom. It is the freedom of being entirely responsible for your own happiness. You are no longer waiting for the environment to change. You are being the change. You are the architect, the artisan, and the witness, and you are living your life as a work of art, day by day, breath by breath. As you sit, a small bird lands near your feet, unbothered, and it begins to forage with the same dedicated focus you have been practicing. Everything is connected. Everything is working in its own rhythm, and you are finally truly and completely at peace with that movement, a part of the grand, unfolding, and eternal design. The late afternoon is golden, a time of mellow light and long soft shadows that stretch out across the city like long protective arms. You find yourself walking back toward your home, feeling a sense of fulfillment that is both deep and wide. You have lived this day well. You have kept your promise to the stillness, and in return, the day has offered you 1,000 small beautiful miracles. You have seen the dignity of the artisan, the grace of the merchant, and the quiet, persistent pulse of the city itself. You have been a part of it all, and yet you have remained uniquely, perfectly yourself, anchored in the veranda of your own spirit. As you enter your room, the silence greets you like an old friend. You feel the coolness of the air, the familiar geometry of the space, and the peace that you have cultivated throughout the day. It is a space that holds the resonance of all your quiet moments, a sacred ground you have carved out of the noise of the world. You sit by the window to watch the sunset, observing the way the sky turns from a brilliant orange to a deep royal violet. The transition is slow, deliberate, and beautiful, and you are watching it with the same focused awareness that you gave to the printing of the cotton. The world is changing. The day is ending, and you are witnessing it all with an open, grateful heart. You realize that the peace you have found is not a static thing. It is a dynamic living practice. It is something you must nurture every single day through the way you wake, the way you breathe, and the way you step into the world. You are prepared to continue this practice, to refine your focus, and to deepen your commitment to the quiet. The night is approaching, a soft, welcoming dark that promises the rest you have earned. You prepare for the night with the same care as the printer, clearing your space, centering your mind, and readying your spirit for the journey into sleep. You are not finishing the work. You are simply resting the hands of the artisan, knowing that the work will continue tomorrow and that the work is beautiful, necessary, and exactly what you were meant to do. You lie down, and the cool sheets feel like a final soothing touch of the veranda stone. You close your eyes, and in the space between wakefulness and dreaming, you see the patterns, the lotus, the vine, and the clear, steady lines of your own deliberate life. You are safe, you are whole, you are at rest. The night is a vast, calm ocean, and you are drifting into its depths, confident that you will rise again, refreshed, renewed, and ready to print another day of beauty onto the fabric of the universe. The cycle of the night has turned, and you wake into the quiet, cool embrace of a new morning. The room is filled with a soft silver light that signals the world is still largely asleep, providing you with the most precious commodity of all, an undisturbed hour of complete stillness. You lie in the quiet, feeling the slow rhythmic expansion of your lungs and the steady grounding thrum of your own pulse. You have learned that this time, before the city stirs and before the demands of the day begin, is the most vital part of your practice. It is here in the stillness that you align your intention with the day ahead. You think of the courtyard again, not as a memory you are losing, but as a part of your own physiology. You find that you can reach into your own mind and touch the cool stone of the veranda whenever you need to stabilize your thoughts. You have realized that peace is not something you go to find. It is something you curate, moment by moment, in the privacy of your own inner sanctum. You rise with a purposeful, unhurried energy, moving through your space with the same deliberate grace of the printer who knew exactly how much force to apply to his block. You are now the master of your own impressions. You choose to start your day with gratitude, with a quiet acknowledgement of the air in your lungs, the strength in your limbs, and the clarity in your mind. As you look out toward the eastern horizon, where the first hint of rose-colored light is beginning to touch the sky, you feel a deep, expansive sense of possibility. You are not just living your life, you are composing it. You are taking the raw materials of existence, the noise, the motion, the light, and the shadow, and you are arranging them into a life of purpose and profound peace. You are no longer afraid of the day's pace because you have found that the pace of the day is only as fast as your internal rhythm allows it to be. You are in control of your own internal clock, and you have set it to the cadence of the veranda, steady, patient, and deeply, inherently calm. You prepare your space for the day, organizing your thoughts and clearing away any lingering clutter, treating the act of preparation as a form of art. You are ready to step out, not as someone who needs to keep up with the world, but as someone who is contributing to the world's quietude through the simple act of being present. You are an anchor in the current, a silent, steadying force. And as you stand at the threshold, ready to move into the fullness of the morning, you do so with a heart that is completely at peace, fully aware that the sanctuary you seek is not a destination, but the very ground you stand upon. The streets are starting to breathe with the morning life of Jaipur, and you step out into the coolness, feeling the air move across your skin like a gentle, invigorating message. The transition from the stillness of your room to the movement of the city is smooth as you carry the quiet with you. You observe the rhythm of the vendors setting up their stalls, the unfolding of the canvas covers, the precise placement of the brass vessels, the careful sorting of the fruits and vegetables. It is a dance of order and preparation that mirrors the work you observed in the courtyard. You realize that everyone is engaged in the same foundational task, bringing order to chaos, creating beauty from the raw potential of the day. You stop for a moment at a tea stand, watching the vendor expertly pour the steaming liquid into a clay cup, the golden stream caught in a shaft of morning light. You don't rush him, you simply wait, enjoying the warmth radiating from the cup and the rich, spicy aroma of the ginger and cardamom. When he hands it to you, you share a brief, sincere smile, a moment of human connection that is worth more than 1,000 rushed interactions. You are finding that the world is incredibly generous when you approach it with an open, unhurried heart. As you walk on, you notice how the sunlight begins to play against the intricate carvings of the older buildings, revealing details you had previously missed. The floral motifs, the geometric patterns, the subtle artistic touches that are hidden in plain sight. It is exactly like the printing process. The beauty is there, but it requires the right light, the right perspective, and the right level of attention to fully appreciate. You are becoming a collector of these quiet beauties. You are learning to see the world not as a collection of obstacles or errands, but as a masterpiece of detail and rhythm. The midday heat is starting to build, but you find that it no longer feels like a burden. You have mastered the art of staying cool from within, of maintaining your own shade, of keeping your internal veranda quiet and protected. You are walking through the fire, but you are not being burned because you have established a core of peace that is colder and stronger than the external environment. You are a living testament to the fact that peace is a skill, a practice that must be maintained with the same discipline as any other craft. You feel a sense of profound quiet joy, the joy of the artisan who knows his work is true, the joy of the traveler who knows he is on the right path, and the joy of the person who has finally found the home they were looking for, not in a building but within the deep still, an unshakable sanctuary of their own well-tended heart. The afternoon light is beginning to soften, taking on that rich golden hue that seems to invite contemplation, and you find yourself returning to the place where you first encountered the master printer. You stand before the teak doors, feeling a sense of deep abiding respect for the space that changed the trajectory of your days. You don't need to go inside. The space is already within you, but the act of standing here is a tribute, a way of acknowledging the journey. You look up at the arches, the way they hold the sky in a gentle frame-like embrace, and you realize that you have become your own veranda. You are the arches, you are the stone, and you are the shade. You walk slowly through the neighborhood as the sun begins to retreat behind the distant hazy hills, and you find that the city is beginning to relax, letting out a long collective sigh as the work of the day comes to a close. You are in perfect harmony with this transition. You have met the day's demands with focus and integrity, and you have reached this point without feeling depleted or scattered. You are whole, you are centered, and you are ready for the stillness that is coming. As you settle back into your room, the silence is thick, rich, and incredibly welcoming. You don't need to rush to turn on the lights or to fill the space with noise. You simply let the darkness unfold, watching the room slowly fill with the soft indigo shadows of the evening. It is the same color you remember from the vat, the same deep oceanic indigo that represented the completion of the artisan's work. You feel that your work, too, is complete. You have printed another day of intention onto the fabric of your life, and the result is a design of clarity, peace, and grace. You prepare for the night with a deep, quiet satisfaction. You are not running from the world. You are simply stepping into the next necessary cycle of restoration. You feel a profound sense of ease in your own body, a lightness that comes from knowing you have spent your energy well. You are ready to rest, to let the lessons of the day settle into the deeper structures of your mind, and to dream the dreams of someone who has mastered the art of being still. You close your eyes, and as the world fades away, you feel the cool, solid strength of the stone beneath you, the quiet, protective presence of the veranda, and the infinite, beautiful space of the night holding you in its palm. You are safe, you are whole, you are at rest. The work continues, the life unfolds, and you are forever the artisan of your own deeply cultivated and perfectly peaceful existence. The cycle of the night has reached its deepest, most profound stage, and you are resting in the heart of that silence, a place where time ceases to have any meaning. The room around you is a vessel of indigo shadow, and you feel as though you are floating in a gentle, warm current of peace, held by the deep, restorative energy of the earth itself. It is in these hours, when the world is entirely still, that you understand the true essence of your journey. The veranda was never just a building, it was an invitation to enter into a deeper relationship with yourself. You have learned that the noise of the world is only as loud as your own resistance to it, and that the heat of the day is only as intense as your own internal agitation. By cultivating this stillness, you have created a permanent architecture of peace within your own mind. You feel the cool air against your skin, a sensation that brings you back to the very first moment you sat against those sandstone pillars in Jaipur, and you realize that you have carried that coolness with you across every mile and every minute. It is a part of you now, a fundamental state of being. You find that you have no thoughts of tomorrow, no worries about what is left unfinished, and no need to be anywhere other than where you are. You have arrived at a state of total, unadulterated presence. Every breath is a slow, measured, and grateful acknowledgement of your own existence. You are an observer, a witness, and a part of the grand unfolding design of the universe. The memory of the artisan's work, the rhythmic thud of the block, the vibrant colors of the dye, the unwavering focus in his eyes is now a part of your own DNA. You are printing your days with that same devotion. You have turned your life into a masterpiece of intention, and in the quiet of this deep velvet night, you are simply enjoying the beauty of the work. You feel a sense of profound, quiet joy radiating from your center, a soft golden light that fills your heart and quiets your mind. There is no loneliness here, only a deep, abiding connection to the stillness that exists in all things. You are a part of the dark, a part of the stars, a part of the history of the house, and a part of the future that is yet to be written. You are drifting, sinking into the deepest, most nourishing sleep, knowing that you will wake in the morning to a world that is brighter, clearer, and more beautiful because of the peace you have cultivated. You are held, you are whole, and you are finally, truly, and completely at rest. The morning sun has begun to spill its golden light across the horizon, but you are in no hurry to meet it. You remain for a few more moments in the exquisite lingering peace of the pre-dawn hour, savoring the stillness before the world begins its daily frantic dance. You have learned that the quality of your entire day is set in these precious, quiet minutes, and you guard them with the same care that the printer guarded his precious indigo dye. You feel a sense of profound quiet strength, a resilience that comes from knowing you have built a sanctuary that cannot be taken away by any external circumstance. You are the architect, the inhabitant, and the guardian of your own peace. As you eventually rise, you do so with a deliberate, slow, and graceful ease. You move through your morning with the focused awareness of someone who understands that life is not a race to be won, but a series of moments to be inhabited. Every act, from the way you pour your water to the way you open your window to the city, is a continuation of the meditation you started on the veranda. You are printing your day with clarity, kindness, and deep, unshakable purpose. The city below is waking up, the sounds of life beginning to rise into the air, but you feel no urge to rush out and join the fray. You will step into the day with your own rhythm, an unhurried, steady cadence that remains grounded in the stillness of your heart. You are a different person today than you were when you first began this inquiry into silence. You are someone who has seen the beauty in the process, someone who has found the truth in the repetition, and someone who has finally, and most importantly, understood the value of simply being. You look out at the horizon, where the light is now turning from soft gold to a brilliant life-giving yellow, and you feel a surge of vibrant, clean energy. You are ready. You are prepared to be an artisan of your own day, to take the raw materials of reality and to leave behind a trace of beauty, a mark of kindness, and an impression of profound intentional peace. You are not just walking into the day, you are walking into the fullness of your own potential, and you do so with a heart that is open, a mind that is clear, and a spirit that is entirely wonderfully at peace. The afternoon sun begins its final graceful descent, casting long molten gold shadows that drip over the city like a heavy velvet tapestry. You walk through the narrow lanes, and for a moment the bustling sounds of Jaipur, the clatter of carts, the shouting of merchants, the discordant music of the street seem to lose their sharpness, softening into a rhythmic, almost musical hum. You realize that you are no longer just an observer of this city, you have become part of its heartbeat. You have lived this day not as a series of obligations, but as an artisan crafting a precious object. Every interaction was a deliberate touch of the block. Every breath was an intentional pulse of ink. And the resulting pattern upon the fabric of your day is one of absolute unwavering balance. As you reached at the threshold of your sanctuary, you pause to look back at the way the light catches the dust motes in the cooling air. They dance with a chaotic beauty that you no longer feel the need to order or control. You have learned the ultimate lesson of the veranda, that the truest form of peace is not found by retreating from the world, but by carrying the quiet within you so deeply that even the loudest noise cannot fracture it. You step inside, and the cool, expectant silence of your home reaches out to embrace you. There is no need for artificial light. You wait in the deepening violet of the dusk, watching the first stars puncture the fabric of the sky. You feel a sensation of profound magnetic completeness, as if all the scattered pieces of your soul, the worries of the past, the restlessness of the future, have finally coalesced into a single radiant point of presence. You have realized that you are the veranda. You are the stone, the shade, and the stillness. You are the master printer and the fabric itself. And your life is a print that can never be erased. As you lay down to rest, the darkness feels less like an absence and more like a vast, limitless ocean of possibility. You are not finishing a day. You are surrendering into the infinite. You close your eyes, and in the sudden, sharp clarity of your mind, you see the pattern one last time, perfect, symmetrical, and eternal. You realize with a final soaring thrill that you will never truly leave this place, because you have finally irrevocably become the peace you were always searching for. You are the silence in the noise, the cool in the heat, and the steady, unbreakable rhythm of the universe itself. You are home, and you are infinite.
Sleepy History with Arthur is created for relaxation, entertainment, and sleep purposes.
The stories shared on this channel are inspired by historical events, daily life, and real periods in history.
but they may be simplified, adapted, or narrated in a calming way to enhance the listening experience.
This content is not intended to be a precise academic or educational source. While we aim to stay generally accurate, some details may be altered for storytelling flow and relaxation.
Please do not rely on this channel as a primary source for historical research or study.
By listening, you acknowledge that this content is designed to help you unwind, relax, and fall asleep. Thank you for your understanding and support.